once the police have convinced the white public that the so-called Negro community is a criminal element, they can go in and question, brutalize, murder unarmed, innocent Negroes, and the white public is gullible enough to back them up. This makes the Negro community a police state. This makes the Negro neighborhood a police state. It's the most heavily patrolled. It has more police in it than any other neighborhood, yet it has more crime in it than any other neighborhood. How can you have more cops and more crime? Why? It shows you that the cops must be in cahoots with the criminal.
Welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
Another banger video by my friend CJ. I'm glad to join you guys on our Monday edition of the Nick and CJ. I like doing these around like 2 times a week. I think it's good. We meet up. There's a lot of things to discuss, especially like now almost every day. I'm like, damn, I gotta jump on. I gotta talk about this. There's a lot going on. And Malcolm X, who they buried him and when I was in school, and the lies and how they literally told us a lie about who Malcolm X was, who MLK was. For one, they wouldn't cover him, and then the extent in which they did cover him, they were like, "Oh, see, he's an example of what you don't want to do. You don't want to be Malcolm, okay? You want to be John Lewis. You want to sit down in the suit. You want to endorse your oppressors." Feel free to interrupt me anytime, CJ.
No, go ahead.
Warmed up here, but you see, I got a story we're gonna lead with that proves Malcolm X right. We're looking at Jayland Walker, who just one of many of our brothers and sisters who are being killed by the police. Imagine how capitalists would describe a socialist society in which there was an armed militia that whenever there was any disobedience, even if you don't follow an order correctly, right? Any protest, they come and they have the right to shoot and kill you if you don't follow their directions at that time. No matter how much stress you're feeling, doesn't matter if you have a mental health illness or episode that's going on, they can kill you. In fact, in this land of the free, the land where we have all these guns, right? They can shoot and kill you, and they can say, "Well, he had a gun on. He had a gun, so
right,
we can shoot and kill him." So Malcolm X, we about to show you guys the story of Jayland Walker and how horrific that his story is. It was a traffic routine. Remember, CJ, we did the story of how the police was like, "Man, we killing too many people, man. Let's stop traffic stops.
Stop doing traffic stops." They know
their people are psychopaths. They know the people who do this. They recently just they lowering the federal guidelines. I don't have to save. I can find it here soon. Where they not even going to require a high school diploma for being a police officer no more. Now, I'm a college dropout. I don't give a fuck about these education levels. I want to be clear on that. But look at the message though. They like anyone who is willing to put their boot on the working class. We're good. In fact, people who score high on empathy, people who score too high on intelligence, they pass on them for police. They're like, "Nah, we don't want people who have a conscience here." Because if someone had a conscience, they wouldn't shoot someone 60 times and then handcuff his dead body. So, CJ, what the message that sent to a community? You shoot someone 60 times and then they handcuff the body. What does that say?
And what's the age? That's what we're not including here.
How old is Jayland?
He's not an adult.
25.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, they kill our kids all the time. But I think Jayland's 25. Here's the
when you get to the story, but the point that I want to make is, or what comes to my mind with this story, and I said this about something else in a tweet, is that ask yourself, based on the story, he shot so many times, and they handcuff his body. Does that sound like an entity that's here to protect and serve, or does it more resemble what it would look like slave catchers going out finding slaves and how they would treat slaves? Like, what does it resemble to you is what I'm asking. It absolutely resembles how they would treat a runaway slave and I'm sorry, I should say it this way, how they would treat an enslaved African.
And that's why the coverage on this channel on current events and the state of our country is way different than other people. Even people I agree with on a lot of issues, like Glenn Greenwald today, he was like, well, even with all the contradictions of the United States, maybe I got to pull a tweet here soon, but he like, we still were founded on good ideas and beliefs. And I responded to him simply, wonder why I'm mad. I don't think it's impossible to ratio Glenn, but I think a lot of people, I got like a few hundred likes on it, where I was like, bro, these ideology that you think the United States have been built on, it never existed. It was a fairy tale.
Right.
Like
right.
This ideology in this country was built on slave masters and slave owners who built their country based on hypocrisy. And
what they're trying to say is
this is not new. This is not new, guys. I want you guys to realize every single empire, study history, every single empire had gross hypocrisies where they say we are this amazing nation, this nation that humanity had never seen before. Meanwhile, people are like, bro, you got fucking slaves, bro. What the hell? And then people see the United States, we do the same thing. People are like, oh my god, this is an amazing country.
Right. It's because it's the ability, and this is because of white supremacy. It's the ability to disconnect from your atrocities because you're gonna say this is actually not a human. So it's okay that I'm treating this person. So these deeds don't count towards being a good person. This is why I said before, this is why in American Heroes, the threshold to be an American hero, you know what's not included? The atrocities on people of color. Yes. That's not a barrier to you being an American hero. So it's that ability to be, you know, like on a day like today, 4th of July, this is perfect. Like on a day like today, you're marching. Do white people really don't get why everybody else don't view 4th of July like why they do? Like, do they really not understand that, Nick? It's so bizarre. You trying to tell me you don't? This is really another day to me. Like, yeah. I hope you guys. The only reason I'm able to do something different is because we're not required to go to work. That's the only reason I'm even able to even acknowledge that this is a different day than any other day. Is because of that. Go ahead, Nick. Yeah, I was about to say, hope you guys enjoy your holiday. That's what it is. It's whenever you get a day off, that's all what it is. Like, right. I never gave a fuck about it. Also, because you guys know I'm not religious. I don't talk about that, but I'm not religious. So like holidays are just fucking day off for me. Right. So enjoy your day off. That's right? What it's for the proletariat, though, Nick. When you're exhausted from work, when you're exhausted from just trying to exist. Think of it, how hard it is, Nick, to exist, to have a house, to be able to exist, to see your family. Most of us in the proletariat, most of us in the working class see employees, our co-workers, more than we see our own family. Dude, that's how I remember I read that stat a long time ago when I was like 18, 19, 20, and I was learning what it really means to be an adult, which is essentially being in the office. I remember I used to work on the Sprint campus here at the time. I used to work in the office space. And I'm like, bro, all my time I'm here. So this is what I do. I'm just in this fucking cubicle all day. And I'm like, oh, this is how people go crazy. Like, I remember when I was a teenager, I didn't understand adults. You know how you had this age, like, I don't get adults by the way they are. And then I got into the workforce, and I'm immediately like, oh, I get it. I get it now. I understand. Right. Why are you drinking a double scotch, Uncle Tom? Why are you drinking a double scotch every time you come home from work? Yeah, I will see my parents. I'll see my uncles. They will just get home. They will just sit on the porch, just chill. I'm like, what the hell? Aren't you bored? No, I get it now because I will be working. I just want to sit on the porch. Like, I get it now. So my point is, like, man, we live these existences where we essentially become factory robots. That's what our education system is designed to make us. These factory robots,
And when we had these holidays, it's just like, fuck, a relief from that day, a relief of being a factory robot, which is why Juneteenth being a federal holiday is even more of a slap in the face, because we don't even get that day off. What kind of shit is that? Let me show you guys this, and I'm gonna get back to the shooting because I think it's very relevant. I think it's off topic, but it's not off topic, because this is what our 4th of July Independence Day celebration video is going to be. I think you approve, CJ. This is going to be our official 4th of July celebration video. Hope you guys enjoy here.
And the United States of America government, when it came to treating her citizens of Indian descent fairly, she failed. She put them on reservations. When it came to treating her citizens of Japanese descent fairly, she failed. She put them in internment prison camps. As long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme.
That was beautiful. I remember that video being used against Barack Obama, the Oreo. I remember that. So, I
remember
truly...
like Barack Obama. Sorry, my audio messed up for a second, but I remember Barack Obama was forced to disavow that guy.
Yeah,
nothing but truth bombs. Preach,
right,
brother, preach, because that's our
right
4th of July message for you guys.
Right,
that's the country you're.
That sums it up, and he sums it up so beautifully in how he describes the African experience on this continent, and I mean many continents, but this particular continent, the brutality, just ridiculous.
I told you guys that video was unrelated, but wasn't. So why did he feel that way? How do you guys propose we react to this shit? That's my question to people. How do you guys propose we react to a state and society that apologizes for this? Where whenever there are police shooting, there's a large segment of our society, the Ben Shapiro fans, the Candace Owens fans, who will say stuff like George Floyd is a thug who deserved to die. So not only do we get killed, we get brutally assaulted once we are killed. So not only did they kill Jayland Walker, shot 60 bullets into him, protests erupt in Ohio because the body cam footage was released. And guess what, guys? The police was lying. The police was saying, well, we thought there was gunshots being fired at us, and we were scared that he was gonna shoot more gunfire at us. And then the body cam came out, and guess what? He was an unarmed man who was just fleeing. And
they don't like that. They don't like that. One, they know they're not gonna catch a black man running. That's one. Let's just get the shit out there. It's a resentment that they understand. This is a young black man. We know we're not catching this motherfucker. But it's also a resentment that because I can't catch this motherfucking fleeing slave nigger, it's that. You understand? It's the job, Nick.
It's also
understand the job is slave catching. So go think back to the 1800s. A slave is running from a slave catcher. Do you understand the anger that a slave catcher would have? It's the same anger we're seeing today. It's the same job.
But these same people that would defend this because he fled. Boo-hoo. Okay, in the world, okay? He fled the scene. Who gives a fuck? You got his tags. Find him later. How is this a hard concept? If you actually care about public safety, you got his information. You got his tags. You know who he is.
Switch that to a white female, and you'll see how opinions change, Nick. If their story was a white 25-year-old white female was shot 60 times for running from the police, you see how many white people come out saying, "What the fuck is this shit?" You see.
This is just
it's because they're black, and it doesn't, your life doesn't matter. This is why we preach so against this idea that the Democratic Party is going to do anything for us. They are funding this. They are funding people who are out to kill us.
We live in a toxic society.
And we're expected to support this. It's truly absurd, Nick, the expectation. That's what's absurd. It's almost offensive that you really expect a black person, or you really expect a black person who says, I won't vote for the Democrats because of this. You should be like, okay, I get you. There's a lot of black people who don't, but you should be like, you know what? You're right. You know, I can't blame you. Like an indigenous person too. Like, okay, yeah, you can do that because I would do it too if I was you. That should be the reaction. Go ahead.
And that's the reaction I get from my kin. Like when people know my politics now because this is what I do, right? So like people know I don't like Barack Obama Democrats. Like, okay, that makes sense. Once they hear me out, you guys know who reaction is not like that? The white liberal. Guys, it's always the white liberal like, how dare you? I'll show you guys the OK Hive tweet I got. The old racist tweet that people send me. How dare you? You Uncle Tom, your neighbor. And meanwhile, Joe Biden, like that comment said, he wrote the crime bill. He's funding the police more as they are rioting against us, as they are waging class war against us. Our society is filled with these fucking violent liberal. I don't know what else to describe it. They will say violence is never the answer when speaking to us. When we want to fight against our oppressive state that's using violence against us, they're like, oh, violence is never the answer. Meanwhile, they all for bombing Palestinians. Right. Hell, even in their personal life, they beat the shit out of their kids. I be watching people with their kids. I'm like, God damn, do you like this motherfucker or not? But they would say, oh, if you protest and show violence against the state, you outline, you out of control. That's the liberals. Then the conservatives, they will say stuff like this. We got the Second Amendment to fight against a tyrannical government. But then we fight against a tyrannical government. They're like, oh, not like that. Not like that.
No. Oh, man. But do you have more? Did you want to? I was going to say, do you want to or do you have an article about the story that we can read?
Let's read a little bit about this so we can get a little bit educational about the story. I don't have any video because there's literally no reason for us to watch stuff like that.
I couldn't. I already told Nick if he was gonna play the video. I'm not gonna watch the video. I'm not gonna watch this stuff. I can't really, like, this stuff is triggering to me.
Yeah,
like, this is very triggering. Yeah.
Me and CJ, we're on the same page on that. Because we already radicalized. I'm already there. And even just us speaking about it, it's good enough. We don't have to use black trauma to get clicks, right? This already traumatic enough, right?
Right.
So you got it's always available, right? I guess that's our fault for not showing it. If you want to watch it, I guess. But here's the story. There's two stories. They go in two parts, but I'm gonna read the second one because it's like a follow-up to this one of the Ohio police releasing the graphic footage of officers killing Jayland Walker. And like they said, the officers, like every other police and probably every single police incident, and I'm not bullshitting when I say probably every single police incident they are lying, at least in some capacity.
Yes,
and in this case, they was like, well, we thought he was gonna fire back at us. We thought we was in danger. Of course we
so this is the Minority Report. We preemptively you're preemptively killing them because he was gonna kill you in 10 seconds is what you're saying. It's so ridiculous, Nick, what they say. I am just terrified that enough white people is not opening their eyes to this shit. Yeah, like I just can't imagine you're still not understanding what the hell is going on with the police. I just can't imagine the bubble you're in, that you are viewing these incidents in a way that it is not absolutely the police fault. The Uvalde police, look what they're doing.
They're pro-life though, CJ. They're pro-life, but they for people getting killed for running for a traffic stop. Why? Why is that worth a life? Like, now we're just talking about ideology. We're talking about morality here. These people are capitalist scumbags. Their morality literally says that you are worth dying. You are worth being killed for running for a traffic ticket. The fuck? You trying to sacrifice a life to fund the city slightly more? Is that your morality? Even though they can easily track them down and find them later. But anyway, let me read the story before I get into another rant. Heated protests broke out downtown in Akron, Ohio Sunday, raging into the night. Why did you even add that part? This New York Post guy. So it's always a small propaganda rage into it. Like, of
Yeah.
course, they trying to say like, you see, they planning small scenes like it's out of control. Why even add that part? Raging late into the night.
You have to understand they're writing to white people. That's
Yeah.
what we have to understand. This is written for white audiences. And I don't mean just because it's a New York Post. I mean a story written about the police is written for a white audience. They don't give a fuck about what black people and indigenous and brown. They don't give a fuck what we think about the police because they know we don't want the police we don't view the police in the same way that the white public. So I'm just saying any entity, they're writing it from that perspective.
Let me ask you guys something. Are we kids? I'm talking to the conservatives here more than anybody here. The people who feel like they fight in big nanny state government. You put your kid has a curfew. Your 8-year-old has a curfew. To me, that makes sense. They're kids. You should have some level of control over them. Do you guys really believe that there's something immorally wrong about protesting at night? Are we kids? Do we have a bedtime? The government said, hey, go to bed. You're like, yes, sir. Yes, daddy. And you think you're anti-establishment? I would love to ask a right-wing populist that. I would love to hear it. But anyway, let me continue. But I want you guys to see the small art propaganda. Me and CJ, I can't unsee that. And maybe I'm being nitpicky, but I just see that raging.
We need to be, though. We need to be, because we have to constantly point out how propaganda is not necessarily a straight up lie, but just adding these adjectives, these phrases in there is to create an emotion in you. It's not about this. It's not a straight line. I got to do another segment on that propaganda guy about Edward Bernays. It's all psychology. By the way, he is the nephew of Sigmund Freud. It's about psychology.
Every time we read one of these stories, we always end up talking about propaganda because this is New York Post. I understand the bias. Now, I personally read a lot of mainstream news as well independent news because I understand the bias. And seeing this propaganda, I'm like, oh, that's actually educational to me. That's why
you know, because you know this, you know how to pick out what's actually fact. You know how to look at this. Okay, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. That's what you're doing. This is bullshit.
Yeah, that's why.
So you know how to do that. But the average person who don't understand propaganda doesn't know that.
That's why when you see like shitloads, they're like, you reading the New York Post, you reading Fox News. I'm like, for one, you were in CNN and MSNBC. Secondly, I know what their perspective is. So I know what angle they're coming from. So, and that same goes for everyone, even independent news. You guys know our bias. We got bias. I'm a black Marxist. I'm against U.S. hegemony. I'm against the capitalist class. I'm for the workers. So I'm not saying we don't have it. Everyone have on their side, right? You got to take the news and you got to educate yourself knowing the biases that people have, and that's what we're doing here. And that's why I have to point this out when I see it. Anyway, let me continue. That's our little propaganda segment on this. After police released graphic body camera video showing black DoorDash delivery man Jayland Walker being shot dozens of times as he tried to flee a traffic stop. See, that's another. Jayland Walker was executed by the police for simply disobeying an order. That's how I would write that last sentence. I don't know about
this is a traffic stop. This is not them saying this is a traffic stop. So let's understand the level of violence that's needed. Guns shouldn't even be pulled out for a traffic stop. Okay, so that shouldn't even be in a case. So a person who jaywalks and then the cop says, "Hey, stop!" They start running. You're telling me you can pull out a gun and kill that person?
So fucking
That's
stupid.
what you're telling me? Like, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, Nick, that I don't understand how people don't see this. I don't
know how people
really
don't feel
don't
about
get
reading it. We are only literally one paragraph in. I literally spot like multiple propaganda here, and it blows me away that people don't see it. Even the way they wrote that, they want to let you know it's his fault. He fled instead of police execute. See, I told you once again, you can call it nitpicky if you want, but the way I would write that last sentence is Jayland Walker was executed by the police for simply disobeying an order. See, you see how that conveys a different message. That shows you the police are psychopaths. So you ran? That's it?
Well, what? Just think of the word. This is a great opportunity to teach how propaganda works.
Go ahead.
Think of the word fleeing. do you use the word fleeing in any scenario that's good? Do you, like in your regular life? I'm asking the audience, do you use the word fleeing to say, like, do you use that to go to school? I'm about to flee to school. I'm fleeing to school. You don't do that. The use of the word fleeing is to imply criminality.
Yes.
That is the purpose of that word being used. So they may try, oh yeah, we're reporting the story, but why are you using these words? It's to convey a message.
Do people really think they pick these? Like you are the editor, you are a writer of the New York Post, you're a writer of the Washington Post, the New York Times. You guys think these words are picked and chosen by accident? You think they're vibing? These are carefully chosen, carefully. And thing is, if you want to take the Noam Chomsky approach of how they let the system work itself out, if you're not good at this, you won't climb the ladder anyway. Like if you're not good at using the propaganda language, there's a reason why the person who wrote this article writing this damn article, he's the Michael Jordan of this propaganda in this area. Yeah. So he climbed the rank, and that's why he's good at using propaganda techniques. So the Noam Chomsky argument is by manufacturing consent in the way the corporate media works, like if you are a rebel, if you don't write like this, you won't even get that position in the first place, right? And to me, I think that makes sense. So let's continue with the article. That's why I'm glad that CJ's here, because he's really good at dissecting like media language or propaganda. Because it's important when we read a story with their point of view, and I'm showing you guys how the United States empire brainwashed our people. The same thing they accuse countries like Russia and China of doing, having these giant police states that ethnically cleansing and purging minorities. It's happened to the black community. Every single thing that liberals and conservatives say is happened to the Uyghur population in China. Check out my conversation with Q where we talk about that. They debunked it in a pretty epic fashion. Everything they said happened to the Uyghur Muslims. It's literally happening literally down the block. Look next door, motherfucker. Right. Next door, the black community is getting destroyed by our state. But you worry about China. But anyway, let's continue with the article. Left off right here. This pretty much saying the mayor called it heartbreaking. Even though I'm pretty sure maybe I should do research, but I'm telling you, I got a feeling this mayor is a police bootlicker. They all are. I'm telling you.
They have Ohio, to be.
I'm telling you up front. I do admit I don't know that much about Daniel Corrigan, but if you are a mayor in Akron, Ohio, you're probably a police bootlicker. That's just my guess. But he called it heartbreaking though. Video captured cops dressed in riot gear and carrying shields confronting demonstrators. These are the people who are protesting on behalf of the execution of Jayland Walker, which shows how unhinged our state is. Where not only do our people get killed and executed in the streets, they then assault and go after the people who challenge the state, who killed the people, who is their loved ones. That's a next level of cruelty. Once again, just like handcuffing the dead body. And if you
that is really disturbing.
Go ahead.
Let me just zero in on that. That is really disturbing. Like a human, like just think a body that's been hit by that amount of bullets, Nick. Think about a body that has been hit with that number of bullets. You mean to tell me you can't see that person needs medical help versus cuffs? You really can't see that. You really do you think these people need training to understand a human being is not supposed to be? No, they don't need no training for this. They don't need training. What the working class, what the proletariat, what everybody is waking up to is to what the police are there for. What they've been telling us is not what they're there for, to protect and serve who? Who is that sentence directed to? Y'all just thinking everybody, the Constitution ain't for us either. They're not speaking to us. They're speaking to a certain segment of people, and it is not us.
Why you guys think
these rights? They are not for us. These rights aren't for us. The founding imperialists didn't mean them to be for us. It was never intended for us. The Supreme Court is always trying to. I wonder, what do they call the people who always, the constitutionalists who wants to read how what they were thinking at the time? What are they saying when they're saying that, Nick? When they're saying we want to judge the Constitution, how the people were thinking, and who are those people?
They know what they're doing. That's what they
Sexist, they know exactly what they're talking about.
Hell yeah.
No, we don't want to go back to how they were thinking. We do not. It is just absurd to me.
That's such a great point.
This stuff is very triggering. This is very triggering. This is fucking absurd.
And that's such a great point you make, CJ. I literally just heard Mike Pompeo speak recently, and I heard some other fucking neocon, I don't remember his name, but they was talking about the elections in South America and how Colombia had the first left victory, Chile and Honduras have leftist presidents that won, and the comment, and I swear to God, they was talking about this without even batting an eye. They were saying, yeah, this is a tactical mistake by America. But I remember back in the day, we used to go back in and we used to influence and we used to overthrow the left leaders. We used to prop up insurgents. Why don't we do that again? For one, they lying, implying that we don't do that. But you see how they just talking about it like they know. They're like, yeah, we went back in the day, we killed socialists in the global South. They just had a conversation when they was talking about, they're just blatant. Like, why don't we do this no more? Like, what the fuck? Fucking liberals. Fucking, we can't just kill those socialists like we used to. Like, and when you hear people quote, man, we've strayed from the founding fathers. They know what they were talking about.
Yes.
They know what the founding fathers are about.
Language. They're talking in coded language to the other ruling class. We need to go back to what the founding imperialists and that's why they just took rights from women. Do you not see how this shit is connected? This is how they just took rights from women because women didn't have rights from the founding fathers. And you think we about to vote somebody to fix this shit? That is truly Comedy Central. That's some. You need to write some skits. If you're talking about voting is gonna fix, what reform bill is gonna bring Jayland Brown back? Jayland Walker back? What? It's absurd.
It is. And meanwhile, while we have Christian fascists who was literally saying the quiet part out loud, like, we're going to take your rights away. The liberals were like, hey, let's worry about Vladimir Putin. You had Nancy Pelosi that was saying, we need a strong Republican Party.
Right.
And the people wonder why say they're complicit. Saying shit like that.
They wonder why RBN pushes back so hard on this stuff is because Jayland Brown is dead. I mean, Jayland Walker, I keep thinking that because of basketball.
Yeah.
Jayland Walker is dead. And you gave the police more money. You think what training? Like, what's the name of the training class, Nick? That's going to fix this. Don't shoot somebody while fleeing. Do we need a training class for that? Like, and you're talking about a person fleeing from a traffic incident. Let's make sure we understand that. Not a person fleeing from a bank robbery, not a person fleeing from a rape that just happened. He is fleeing because it's a traffic violation.
Meanwhile, David Grossman, the person who trains them, he's like, great job, sir. Great.
Right.
This is exactly what I remember when I told you the populace is our enemy. He saw that person running away. He took my words to heart and he shot him dead without hesitating. Love that shit. Maybe I'll speak on that's David Grossman. That's literally what he said. We covered that many times. Let's continue on with the story. It gets even more absurd, and we wrap up this story here soon. Because the reason why I show you this one, there's two of them. Obviously, there's the death of Jayland Walker. We covered that. It's important to cover the police response to the protests as well, because this is just another giant example of the insane fascist police state we live in. Look at this. Other videos depicted police officers deploying what appears to be dozens of canisters of tear gas. A war crime, CJ. So they killed our people. They killed our people. And then we upset, we march in the streets, and we say, fuck the police because the police are killing our people. We say we are done dying. We say justice for Jayland. So the response they have is to literally commit a war crime that can have permanent effects on people, tear gas. You have the liberal class during the COVID culture war when they were pretty much being sent for big pharma. Remember they were talking about you got all the people with preconditions, precomorbidities. You have people with all these lung conditions. That's why COVID is so dangerous. Meanwhile, they are literally using tear gas on the same people they claim they wanted to protect. Because they are the ones who want to fund the police more, the Democratic Party. The people who are sent to big pharma. They care about you, though. That's what a lot of people believe.
Just as
We learned literally the last few years. Go ahead, CJ.
I was just saying, just ask the question when you see police interactions and stories. Ask the question: does police behavior in this story look like protecting and serving, or does it resemble slave catching? Always ask yourself that question.
So I wanted to get to that part. Let me show the at least some of the pictures in the article. I saw a lot of pictures and video on Twitter. They're available. You guys can see it, but I don't think it's really that productive. Just know the police are beating the shit out of us. I could search for. I can show you guys, but you guys can find them. Here's some pictures. Look at this. Imagine this is I remember when I was a kid, when they demonized socialist societies, and as a kid I used to just believe them, kind of knew no better. Like when I used to be like, there was like these giant authoritarian countries, and America is like more free than others. Like this, I'm talking about like when I was like a preteen. I didn't know fucking better.
Right.
Because this is what they taught us. This is what I would think. This picture. This is what I would think of a quote unquote authoritarian country. Is this image, right? Am I right? So
no, that looks like if you gave a different, if you said, hey, this is some war-torn country in Eastern, you would be like, yeah, look what's happening over there. Oh no, actually, no, this is right here in USA.
CJ, imagine the mass psychosis that must be on a population that can see this picture and like, yeah, this is law enforcement, public safety. Imagine your brain being that broken, your mind being that colonized. You see these videos, you see these pictures, and you're like, public safety.
Yeah. What safety? Stupid. Like, okay, let's answer that question. For those who are Blue Lives Matter, what safety was Jayland Walker encroaching on? Like what safety was he doing that required him to be killed? You're just giving possibility. Well, he could have been doing this. No, what was he doing to get that? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so this segment pretty much over. I'm just showing the pictures at the end. Yeah, you can get your next segment ready, CJ. But I think this is a good coverage. I'm showing the last pictures. So I can see out the article here.
They're ready. Go ahead with your comment, then I'll get mine.
Yeah. I'm pretty much. We pretty much can write the segment. Let me get some super chat. I'm not quite sure if we read them because let me know.
No, there's a couple. I know there's one that came before that one. The very first one I don't see up there.
Yeah, let me know if I missed one. Thank you for the 199. Solgado, friend of the show. Always leave great chats. We appreciate you. Bernays birth the hypnosphere.
Yes.
Thank you for the super chat.
Hypnosphere. Hypnosis is related. Yeah, it's related. Now I understand the comment because I think he said something like that before, but now I know what he's referring to, or he or she, the person.
Thank you for $20, Justin, Nick, and Jay. Thank you for all you do and RBN do. You're speaking the truth. People need to hear. Definitely appreciate that. We appreciate all you guys who continue to support us. Also share our videos because the algorithm been destroying us. So the only reason we got 340 people watching this right now because you guys been sharing, you guys been liking. It's literally like a community-led effort to get RBN paid because it's not like YouTube pushing us. You guys know the YouTube channels, like you just see their shit all the time. Right. Like people, they gotta find our shit. So that's why I appreciate Justin. I appreciate you guys who help this community go because it's literally you guys. It's only what you guys are helping us grow. But go ahead. CJ.
So here's the anecdotal story.
You next one.
Here's the anecdotal story though. Here's an example. So the last stream I did, or one of the streams I did, called "It's Time to Exit the Democratic Party," and it's titled "The Case for Exiting a Democratic Party." And I woke up the other day, I had 772 likes on that video. 5 hours later, it was down to 554 likes.
And I seen that too. The video with Mark Kimberly. I remember I went to sleep one night, and it was like 2000. Then I woke up like 4 hours later because I usually sleep at like 4-hour fucking increments. And then it was like at 1.9. I'm like, what the? I literally saw 2K. So they like take views, they take stuff from us, and they be like out in the open.
And this is the reason why they do. This is the reason why they take likes away, for example, because if 772 likes, the algorithm is gonna think this video needs to be shown to more people because it's popular. So you you bring it down so it slows it. Another thing they do is they hold showing how many you actually have, so that other people, because if people say, oh, that video has 5,000 views, they'll click on it. But if it only shows 2,000 to the person viewing it, even though, because we can see in the background the real-time views, and it's not what you actually see, and they will hold it for a long time. Like, these are the things they do. This is why it's so important that you like. So let me shamelessly just do this. Like the stream, like the stream here. You know what's happening. You know why it's happening. When you're speaking against capital, then the capitalists get very, very afraid. So we're currently at 231 likes. We have 350 viewers, so maybe we can push that to 300 likes. That'll get some more people in the chat and also help us. We are roughly around 19,400 subscribers, but they keep, every time we add 100, magically we lose like 110, and it's like, so please subscribe if you're not subscribed, or if you think you are subscribed, just double check, because they are just doing weird things to slow this channel down. I mean, we have had amazing growth, so they know, Nick. I mean, we hit 15,000 in a year. We hit 15,000 in a year.
Yeah, all things considered, man, 20K in literally 1 year is crazy. Especially considering everyone's talking about how, and not even just us, everyone's talking about how independent media is suppressed. Despite the suppression, we're still growing. They're not many channels that grew. So I'm just thankful for what we have. But we do got to educate people about what the algorithm is doing to independent media, because I think it's relevant. So I don't think we read this one, but I'm trying to get through all of them here real quick. Thank you for the $5. The Second Amendment nullifies the he had a gun excuse. Thank you. Right. This is the argument that I have been making for literally years. And this is why I love our community. I literally see you guys just spreading our message. I love to see it. Because now I'm starting to see more people ask this question. I be tweeting it all the time, and now seeing people like, yeah, what the fuck? How can the police shoot you with a gun? Remember, CJ, back in the day, people would just accept that as a gun. People like, yeah, he had a gun. My entire life, I always like, how is that an excuse?
What did he do with the gun, though? That's the question. Because just having it, but now, like you said, Nick, you started saying it on this network, and then we started echoing you, and now people are echoing what we're saying, and you're seeing it on other channels too. So this is great. This is how we're gonna have to spread the message. Is this way, because they're trying to stop us any type of way, and they're not gonna be able to stop us. It's too many of us, and this is why I always say, start a channel. Start a channel.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Like everybody, I think just start a channel. If you're reaching 300 people, that's 300 more people.
Yes, I strongly
endorse that. Like start a channel. So let's get to the main the main story, because this is the story I was gonna do.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Before I'm sorry, I didn't even have the screen up. Did you have something up?
No, go ahead.
So I was looking for. So originally, Nick, I was going to do the interview with Jimmy Dore and Chris Hedges. This is an old one. And they talk about some great stuff that's still relevant. And then it just happened to pop up. I saw something on the side suggest a video, Majority Report. And he was basically blaming Roe v. Wade on Bernie Sanders supporters and Jimmy Dore, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? So I rewinded, and he says it right in the beginning. That's why, because I didn't even watch the whole stream. He says it like right in the first 10 minutes of the show.
That's something that's just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's something someone would say, especially as a political commentator, as someone who cares about views and clicks. This is something that someone would say when they know they lost the real left. Like, the real left is gone. Especially after the feud that you had with Jimmy, after the real left, Like Sam Seder was destroyed by Jackson. We destroyed him in multiple videos. Like the true left has been calling this dude out for years. So he knows that audience is gone. So you might as well go full shit lib at this point. I be seeing like the videos that TYT and Sam Seder released. TYT does multiple videos every day about January 6th.
Yeah. You know who their audience is by that.
These are people who know the working class, the left is done. They going for the boutique liberal crowd at that point. But anyway, I just want to add that point. Go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, actually, so I clipped this. I clipped most of the segment that I want, most of the clip or most of the part where he's talking about it. So here's the first part. It is a 2-part clip. So let me play the first part. Oops. Hang on a second here. Did I click the wrong one? Yeah, I did. This is the one. There we go. My bad. All right, so I did clip it. So here is part 1 of let me turn the volume up because I think the volume here is a little lower. All right, here we go.
Do Democrats learn some type of magic? Is there a Democratic brain that exists that controls all Democrats? And does that brain learn a lesson when the candidate who should win didn't win? And we can either say it was because people stayed at home and they were trying to send a message or not or whatever. But if you want an experiment as to what happens when you empower Republicans, we have the results of the experiment. And part of the inputs into that experiment is an anemic Democratic Party. This was all knowable in 2016. It was. And, people keep asking me to reissue the debate with Jimmy Dore because it was the one place where
this debate with Jimmy Dore, this is something I haven't looked up. Do you know what debate he's talking about? Do you know what debate in 2016? What were they debating? Just so I understand before I finish this clip here.
So Jimmy, one of the people that said we shouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton because she is a war criminal that destroyed the working class, waged a war against children in the 90s, literally destroyed Libya, literally destroyed Haiti. I can go all day about it. It'd be a whole nother segment if I can get into the crimes of the Clintons. Literally used slave labor. So their argument is like, man, we should support these people or the LGBTQ community will be destroyed, which I stand in solidarity with them. But the people you're supporting are destroying other communities. So my question to Seder and my question to everyone who endorsed that ideology is exactly how many Black lives is worth one LGBTQ person? That's my question. So if Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, they wrote the crime bill, they destroyed the Middle East with their foreign policy, how many of those lives is worth it for you just to have this one culture war fight that they don't even stand with you on?
Right.
They don't even stand with you on that culture war fight. But anyway, Cedric, go ahead. We can get
so that's just clarifies my understanding of. I mean, I assume it was something like that, but just clarify. So they had a debate. So I guess people have been asking him to re-release it. I guess they're asking him to re-release it because maybe they felt like he won the debate or something like that, or maybe they felt like
they feel like they won because Trump won and the Supreme Court went right wing. So Sam Seder was like, "Hi, got you. I told you the Supreme Court will go right wing." If you don't, that's their. So this is the.
But it's so many things that they're missing, and we're gonna get to. I have the footage. We're gonna get to. It's so many things that they're missing on why Hillary Clinton. They're acting like they're missing so much of the story to why Hillary Clinton wasn't able to beat Donald Trump. And I'm just gonna spoiler alert. They propped up Donald Trump.
Exactly. She had an anti-abortion vice president.
Right.
So looking at Joe Biden, his administration, guys, you guys are super frustrated at Joe Biden's administration. Imagine Hillary Clinton and the ghouls that she would have hired in her administration.
Neera Tanden could quite possibly been the chief of staff. Neera Tanden.
There was I'm trying to remember this guy. Fuck, what's his name? Some Wall Street goon. There was rumors. Oh no, Howard Schultz. I know this for a fact. Howard Schultz, you know the union buster.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah,
there was the Hillary Clinton administration was floating Howard Schultz, the unhinged Starbucks union busters. I can show you guys some videos I showed with him. He is extremely anti-worker. Hillary Clinton and her administration was floating him as labor secretary.
Oh goodness!
God, do you guys could imagine how horrific a Hillary administration? They don't know they're playing this fucking, I can't call it anything other than a shit-lib game where if Hillary won, everything would be great. There's a reason why I voted for Joe Stein in 2016, because I saw the Wall Street war criminal creatures that was backing Hillary Clinton. Like this World War III you guys were seeing, it would have escalated. Like this whole war against Russia, it would escalate even more.
Because she's much more hawkish. She's way more hawkish than Joe Biden. And I can't emphasize their ideology is extremely anti-worker. It was the Clintons that cut welfare programs in the 90s. It was them who deregulated Wall Street. And they was backing their administration with people like Larry Summers, literally everyone who believed in that ideology. They were like, they're not going to be on our side. And y'all wanted us to vote for these people? We don't know what would happen because Trump won. But I promise you, things would have been horrific if Hillary won. And they are pretending that things, just because the Supreme Court, I made this argument the other day. The Supreme Court is just one of three branches of our government. And let me break that down.
Every single one of us.
Because I can destroy the Supreme Court argument in just a few sentences, Nick. There's roughly 70 to 80 cases every year that the Supreme Court rules on. The only ones we talk about 5 of them. Because those are the ones they want us to debate each other on for the Supreme Court. Guess what the other 95% of them? They're pro-business and they're all in agreement. So you get what I'm saying? So they're there for capital. These other small decisions where we want to act like they're so different, they're not. They are not. Just wanted to say that, but let's continue with the video before.
Go ahead.
These rants. Yeah, let's go.
Where it's sort of like we had that argument, although we were saying this all throughout. Well, we will, but
why not?
We will, but we were saying this throughout the whole summer, and it wasn't just Republicans bad. It is Republicans bad, and Democrats not good at stopping them.
Yeah, if you agree they're a bad opposition, then you don't want them in opposition.
What?
Yeah, I was just stopping right at the same place.
Bro, I
was about to make a comment on that too. Go ahead.
I'll pass right to you, CJ, but that's the most elementary level political analysis. Republican bad, Democrat bad, stopping them. Instead of Democrats enable Republicans every step of the way. Remember, Sam Seder doesn't care about police budgets. So instead of talking about, they just say Republican bad, instead of the fact that Democrats enable Republicans on doubling down on our police state. They double down and help Republicans pass the Patriot Act. So you see how he just brushed all these things that actually matter aside? But anyway, sorry, CJ, go ahead. That's unbelievable to hear that in 2022. To hear that as an analysis.
I mean, so he's saying the Republicans are terrible. They're evil. And the Democrats are bad at stopping evil. They're bad at stopping evil even when they control all the 3 branches. Right? They're bad at stopping it. So because of that, make sure they stay in power. So they're not the ones who's opposition. You like that's Nick, that's like somebody telling me the sky is yellow. Like I really it's so absurd. I'm like, I don't even have a comment.
Dude.
It's so ridiculous. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say one thing real quick and we get back to the video. I was watching, because I told you guys their channels are pushed. They are pushed. I don't subscribe to them. I saw one of their live streams on. I was just doing chores or whatever. So I need something to listen back on. Let's see what they're talking about. Guys, even when they talk about working class issues, they were doing a segment where they was essentially referring to the fact that, I know the Democrats have these faults, and every time any criticism of a Democrat came up, they still say, they're still better Republicans. It's almost like they had a contract in which anytime they criticize Democrats, they must say as a caveat, remember the Republican Party's words, still got to vote for them at the end of the day. it's like it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
It feels
Anyway,
like
let's
to
go.
me.
Go ahead. You can continue the video.
It also feels that way in the way he kind of critiqued. Oh, this is another thing. So because I started seeing videos of some of reformist leftists kind of turning on Joe Biden and the Democrats. So when I went also to look for him, it wasn't a suggested video. Now I remember what happened. When I went to go look for their channel, oh, they obviously have a video too where they're critiquing. There wasn't really finding one. They were blaming. This is what I found in the video that was titled, like referring to the overturn of the decision. But anyway, let's get back to this because we still have another video to cover before we even really get into the conversation.
Exactly. And I mean, we have the results of that experiment. It's right in front of you. You don't have to think about the hypothetical. I mean, I've seen tweets, people saying like, I've never been more proud to have not voted for Joe Biden. If you vote for a sense of pride, then you don't understand what voting is supposed to be about.
So let me go to part 2 now. I mean, it was a couple of things just in that video, but let's go to part 2 of the video. My bad, everybody. Bear with me. Now, in this other video, he makes it a lot more clearer of what he thinks for those people who did not vote red or blue. And that's this video right here. So let's listen to him again. This is like right after. So this is the very next words he says right in the first, after the first video here. So look at it as a continuation. Here we go.
Voting is not an art project. Voting is not a way to give yourself a medal. Voting is not an expression of who you are inside.
Would you agree with what he's saying? Voting is not so far. It's not an art project.
Let me ask you guys this question. And I heard this argument made before. Ask yourself, who benefits from this ideology? Do you think the workers benefit from this ideology or the ruling class? And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna let the video play. Just think.
Yeah, so he's basically saying he's describing don't vote your conscience, because to me, voting. That last line is voting. What we say, vote your conscience. That's exactly what he's saying.
I'm gonna let his argument play, and I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you guys my response. And just keep in mind who does this benefit? This ideology. Just keep this in mind as you explain this part. Go ahead.
It sounds laughable, but
no, it's the narcissism of it. I mean, we were having to
the narcissism of the
working
class
in 2016, but that is that this is the exact debate that we were having.
That's how they look at it, Nick. The narcissism of the working class to have a red line of what they want and not just join unity. That's what they think.
Fact.
Hey, CJ, that's unbelievable.
That we were combating.
Exactly. And it is a tool. And if you have a plan that involves voting for one choice that will lead to the best outcomes.
For who?
And I
mean,
like,
that's the question.
I kept begging people for
who?
The that is called a theory of change.
Do you want to comment, or are you just talking? Okay.
And I'm not saying for who. Electoralism. There's other theories of change you can apply, but like if you can come up with that and sell it, I'm all ears. But like it's just sort of just bizarre to watch people go like, I'm proud of the fact that I didn't vote for either one of the candidates. You know what? You're an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that voters en masse should move away from a...
This is worse than I thought it was going to be. I didn't see the video. Remember?
Yes.
I was sitting with it. I was like, all right, I heard this argument before. This is actually worse than I thought it was going to be. I'm like, holy shit. Like, how do people even think they're on the left? I was like, all right, they're going to make an argument like, oh, man, you got to just vote for your constitutional responsibility. You got to vote. Bro, this is actually worse than I thought it was going to be. So congratulations. Congratulations, Majority Report. This is
you know how the guy, I don't know the name of the person who talks off screen, but they never show his face. Maybe he's a producer. They started letting him talk. What he says is almost worse. So listen to him. Listen to what he says. Yeah, listen to what he says here. I know you're gonna have to sit through this again, but let's listen to Sam and then listen to the person talking off screen.
There's other theories of change you can apply, but like if you can come up with that and sell it, I'm all ears. But like it's just sort of just bizarre to watch people go like, I'm proud of the fact that I didn't vote for either one of the candidates. You know what? You're an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that voters en masse should move away from a lesser of two evils approach for nothing. Like, there's
the idea that voters should move away from a lesser of two evil. That's what this guy just said, Nick. That's what he just said. Let me see if I can turn it up. He's arguing against moving away from that. That's what I thought too. I was like, that is insane that guy off screen said that. That is absolutely insane.
And they're like not alone. Like, yeah, man, hell yeah, great point, man. This is why we have you on the show. This is exactly why.
Listen to this.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that voters en masse should move away from a lesser of two evils approach for nothing. Like, there's no alternative. It's just out of your theory of how it's not going to solve the problems, which it might not, but it's like the best vehicle on offer right now.
And he acknowledged that it might not be, but it's the best vehicle. We're not accepting that anymore. Go ahead, Nick.
Let me say this. Remember how we talked about the class divide and the class difference on the left? So my grandpa died 25 years younger than Henry Kissinger is right now. I'm just estimating. It's around the same amount, right? My grandpa was in his mid-70s when he died. One of the reasons why he died is because he did not catch his cancer fast enough. He didn't catch his cancer fast enough because I remember growing up my entire life saying, there's no point going to the doctor unless you like literally on death's door because it's expensive. So I remember when I first heard the idea of single payer healthcare and I saw that other countries had it, I was like, I was blown away. CJ, our reality is different than their reality. Are we clear? So when they do this lesser two evil shit, Joe Biden said he will veto Medicare for all if it hit his desk. Hillary Clinton said Medicare for all, single payer healthcare will never come to pass. So our system, our healthcare system killed my grandparents. It's going to kill me. It's going to kill my parents. It's going to kill everyone I know because no one I know goes to the fucking hospital, Sam Seder, because of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. But these privileged motherfuckers, Emma fucking literally grew up rich. Her parents are fucking rich. And they're wagging their finger at the quote unquote dumb left because we don't want to vote for people who are killing our community. Joe Biden, the Clintons passed the crime bill. We just did a story. Jayland Walker. Every day, the police is killing our people. The Democratic Party is for that. They are the party of the police state. So when you say lesser two evils, what are you talking about? They are killing us with their policies.
Lesser of two evils for who?
For who? Sorry, CJ. We can continue, but
no,
I cannot believe this shit. This is I cannot believe it is bad.
It's bad.
I cannot believe it.
Now I'm gonna let it play again because we heard it in sections and it's so let's try to let it play. It's only a minute and 27 seconds.
I chill for a little bit.
So I'm gonna mute myself. Just to let it play the entire.
I'm gonna chill for a bit
so we can digest it together because it is quite terrible.
Voting is not an art project. Voting is not a way to give yourself a medal. Voting is not an expression of who you are inside. It sounds laughable, but
no, it's the narcissism of it. I mean, we were having to not to relitigate this from 2016, but this is the exact debate that we were having, the exact impulses that we were combating.
Exactly. And it is a tool. And if you have a plan that involves voting for one choice that will lead to the best outcomes, and I kept begging people for that is called a theory of change in the context of electoralism. There's other theories of change you can apply, but like if you can come up with that and sell it, I'm all ears. But like, you know, it's just sort of just bizarre to watch people go like, I'm proud of the fact that I didn't vote for either one of the candidates. You know what? You're an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that voters en masse should move away from a lesser of two evils approach for nothing. Like, there's no alternative. It's just out of your theory of how it's not going to solve the problems, which it might not, but it's like the best vehicle on offer right now.
It's crazy.
And I think he's referring specifically to Jimmy Dore there. And when he's saying the idea that you're just supposed to walk away from the lesser, I mean, he's talking broadly, but I think when they're because they brought up the Jimmy Dore video, I think maybe he's talking about his argument, which is a lot of our arguments. But so what I wanted to do, that's the starting point. We barely could get to the starting point. Now, did you want to say anything else before I sort of just break down their argument?
I think
we're going to break down their argument.
Let's get next video.
Yeah, we're going to break down their argument. But before we break down the argument, there is just some history that we have to sort of just bring up.
Actually, can we do a comment check real quick? I have a few comments I want to read real quick. You want to do that?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick comment segment real quick.
Yeah, it takes a little while to bring up the video, so go ahead.
Yeah. Just quick comment segments on some few I saw. Thank you, Murphy Mac. Sam Seder doesn't feel Medicare for all is urgent because he got health care. It's sad how people like him never see the offensive and hypocritical that is. Like, imagine you're a Palestinian and you got Joe Biden and you got Anthony Blinken, who's an insane Zionist who is sponsoring the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. But Sam Seder, he thinks you voting against that administration is just you just trying to express your feelings. You gotta see the lack of solidarity, which still blows me away. You gotta see like, I know it in theory, right? I know these motherfuckers don't give a fuck. He said he don't care. But when you still see it's still shocking, man. Like, that video is shocking to me. We could be talking of these things that we keep revisiting about the class. This could be the reason why revolutionists and reformists may never be able to coalition, because we have two different goals. We have two different goals, and their goal isn't enough to help the people in the proletariat class. Like, these edges, these working around edges, the people in the middle never reaches us. So it's like, if we team up with them, that literally means we're never getting anything, i.e. the black community. You see what happened to the black community when we teamed up with the Democratic Party? You see what happened? So I do have the video as you're putting those comments up. Yeah, I'm gonna read the last one, friend of the show.
Go ahead.
Ultraviolet. I've been putting off a hospital visit for months now due to cost. As a disabled, medically complex person, they're literally killing me slowly. That's friend of the show, Ultraviolet. She joined me on calling last week. Great friend of the show. But Sam Seder will tell you. Yeah, Sam Seder will tell you, Ultraviolet, man, stop complaining, man. Just let them kill you slowly. Think about my comfort, okay? My comfort. Last one I'll read, just to add some more context. I didn't know who that guy was. Matt Leach. I maybe seen him once or twice on Twitter before, maybe. Not too familiar with him though.
Nima, where are you from, Nima? Because I see you paid in euro. Just wondering where you're at, Nima. If you can put that in the comments. Just curious, because we have people, Nick, from all over the country, all over the world that watches the RBN. So, and that's because I love that, because we have that international perspective. Like, I absolutely love that. So
yeah, I literally just saw someone say shout from France earlier. Last one, just because it's super chat, I just saw. Thanks for $5. Kushanada. The smugness of Sam, even though he was right. Oh wait, let me make sure I read that right. The smugness of Sam, even though if he was right on his BS, we wouldn't be in the midst of losing our rights today. Not during Trump. Today, what a tool. So I think it's that even if he was right, like even if voting Democrats would help it prevent our rights being taken, your ideology won. Like, why are you bitching? Like, people voted for Hillary. Like 3 million more people voted for Hillary than Donald Trump, but the Electoral College, like a democracy, made so she didn't win. So why are you even bitching at us? Like, shouldn't you be bitching at Hillary and Democrats for losing? So doesn't that say everything about his class loyalty? That instead of like actually challenging the system that led to Donald Trump and actually challenging the people who was incompetent enough to create Donald Trump, he pointed at Bernie people. So that's a great comment. Hopefully I interpreted that correctly. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, so you just went over basically the breakdown of how we're gonna break this down. Why did HRC lose against Donald Trump in 2008? I mean, there's leaked emails. It's leaked emails. Democrats ran quite possibly the worst candidate ever. The decision to promote Donald Trump, that's a huge one that we're gonna be examining. Also, terrible campaigning in key states. She lost like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin. Calling half the population racist and deplorable, that didn't work out well for her. So let's start with the night of the election, the loss, just to give a backstory. We're gonna go through the story like from beginning to end with quick videos. None of these videos are more than like 2 or 3 minutes. I think this is 1 minute and 42 seconds. So let's listen. It's no real sound, but let's listen. Actually, it is sound, but there's gonna be a lot of music.
First and foremost, it's finally here.
Going into this night, where do we stand?
This is where we stood coming into the night, 268 to 204. So clearly an advantage for Secretary Clinton.
Take a look here. If Donald Trump wins tonight, no matter who they voted for, take a look at these numbers here. 21% say they'll be concerned. 37% say they'll be scared.
This is what both candidates want. They want to be living there starting January 20th of next year. Florida has been going back and forth. Just changed again. It's only 11,000 vote lead just now. It changed.
Math on your feet. I like this.
The Empire State Building in New York City. Take a look at our running tally, the electoral vote. Anderson, this night is turning out to be a real nail biter.
All along, the Trump campaign has been saying that Florida's a must win for them. And I mean,
they can't win.
You're gonna notice a definite mood change in the video in a second here when they realize what's about to happen. They still don't know. They're not happy that she hasn't closed it with all of these still too early to call, but they still think, it's still gonna pull it out.
Win without it. Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida.
You know, I'm guessing that the people in Brooklyn, I can see their fingers.
That's
probably.
the Hillary Clinton head.
Yeah, fingers probably bleeding because there's no more nail to bite.
I wouldn't call anything encouraging for Hillary Clinton at the moment, to be honest with you, my friend.
Wolf, the scene here is so different than it was a few hours ago when people were happy and relaxed. I have been looking around the room at people who are stone-faced. Some of them have been crying.
This was a white lash against a changing country. It was a white lash against a black president.
This is the people rising up saying it's time to listen to us. It's time to listen to us in Michigan and Wisconsin and work for the people.
Hillary Clinton has called Donald Trump to concede the race.
So that summed it up pretty quickly. So I love that. I love how they summed that up very quickly, but you saw the ranges of emotions that the Hillary camp, I'll take that out and put up the next video. Hillary camp kind of went through, Nick. And then let's now, it's also another short video here where we're going to now hear her actual concession speech. Actually, it's a trimmed down. I think it's less than 2 minutes too. Concession speech, and you can kind of hear. I won't preface it, but go ahead, Nate. What's your comment?
The only thing I want to say, and I'll pass right back to you, is I remember I watched the TYT election meltdown video multiple times.
I don't think I've seen that still because it doesn't ring a bell. So maybe I haven't seen it. I have to check that out.
There was a compilation I saw a long time ago. God knows where it is now. But that thing had like millions of views. The TYT just, at first it was like, man, there's no way. Hillary got this in the bag. Trump is a loser. And then as it come on, they literally like, wait, hold on, there's no way, bro. There's no way. Then at the end, they started to make up for the fact that they embarrassed themselves by saying there's no way that Trump was going to win. Then they started going these passionate rants like, this is why America is broken. And then the Democrat Party failed us. The Democrat Party failed us. And then they went later to campaign and endorse Democrats too. It was hilarious. Someone in the comments said, CJ, you must see it. Yeah,
I gotta check it out.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I have watched it more than once.
Oh my god, that sounds hilarious! Like I know I would be like.
I wonder if I can find it. I'm gonna see if I can find it while this go real quick.
Right on. All right, so here is Hillary.
Last night, I congratulated Donald Trump and offered to work with him on behalf of our country. I hope that he will be a successful president for all Americans.
Are you thinking Bill Clinton is thinking, why the fuck did we prop Donald Trump up? Do you think he's thinking that? Like he seems like he's pondering, like, we fucked up by propping Donald Trump up on purpose because we thought this was going to be an easy target. We fucked up, guys. So let's continue. All right, let's listen.
Americans. This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for. And I'm sorry that we did not win this election for the values we share and the vision we hold for our country. But I feel pride and gratitude for this wonderful campaign that we built together. This vast, diverse, creative, unruly, energized campaign. You represent the best of America, and being your candidate has been one of the greatest honors of my life. I know how disappointed you
inside.
She is.
feel, because I feel it too. And so do tens of millions of Americans who invested their hopes and dreams in this effort. This is painful, and it will be for a long time. But I want you to remember this. Our campaign was never about one person or even one election. It was about the country we love and about building an America that's hopeful, inclusive, and big-hearted. We have seen that our nation is more deeply divided than we thought. But I still believe in America, and I always will. And if you do, then we must accept this result and then look to the future. Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead. Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power. And we don't just respect that, we cherish it. It also enshrines other things: the rule of law, the principle that we are all equal in rights and dignity, freedom of worship and expression. We respect and cherish these values too, and we must defend them. Finally, I am so grateful for our country and for all it has given to me. I count my blessings every single day that I am an American. And I still believe, as deeply as I ever have, that if we stand together and work together with respect for our differences, strength in our convictions, and love for this nation, our best days are still ahead of us.
Now, the guy to his right, to her right, because this is a Roe v. Wade, how did we get here? This guy here to the right, that's Tim Kaine. He's not pro-choice. No. So the Democrats that are now trying to say, vote us some more, how is that going to happen? So they want us to vote more in, but they're okay with people with opposite ideologies like him. And then Joe Biden is about to appoint a justice to the bench for life who's also not pro-choice. But then they say, therefore, the Roe v. Wade decision was bad. I absolutely believe, and I tweeted this out, Nick, Democrats are not pro-choice. There's a lot of them, and Joe Biden is not pro-choice. Hillary Clinton's not. They're not. They understand that the vast majority of people are, so they change their position. But these are Republicans. They're not pro-choice, so they don't care. This is why it's such a weak response from the Joe Biden administration, because we've all seen the video of him not being against abortion. We've seen it. You think so at 65 years old, the tender age of 65, he changed his mind? Like, come on, come on. We know that he didn't really change his mind. He just understood that, hey, I'm a politician. I got to change my view because the people who I want to get the vote change their view. So I'm going to act like and project that I'm that. And that's
CJ,
exactly what they did. Go ahead.
They was literally against gay marriage when I was in high school. It's not a long time ago, guys. And you guys think they really changed? Joe Biden, 79, 80 years old, like, man, I really reflected.
Yeah.
No, he
it's
wants
such a
power, you
ridiculous idea.
dumbasses. He wants
Such a
power.
ridiculous
And he's not
thing.
going to do anything to stop this from happening. And my question, and I'll pass it right to you when we play this video, they say, I know we control the legislative branch, but we don't got the votes to codify Roe v. Wade. How about you kick the anti-choice Democrats off their committees?
Right.
How about you pull their funding? You know, all the things that the AOC and the squad is afraid of you doing to them if they step out of line. Do that to anyone who's anti-choice. They don't do that. Why? The conclusion we just came up with, right? Go ahead, CJ.
Because they're not pro-choice. And let's listen to this video. Now, this is done before the election actually happened. So we don't know Hillary or if Trump won. And this is an international perspective on how 3 reasons why Hillary Clinton could lose. Listen to the third prediction when we get to that. Oops.
That glass ceiling yet.
Polling shows that Hillary Clinton's doing particularly well with women and minority voters. And it's these demographics which could help give her the edge in November's election. But a win is by no means guaranteed, and there are many reasons why Hillary Clinton could lose. We put some of them to the people who know her best. Factor 1. A year ago, the idea that Donald Trump would be a serious contender wasn't being taken seriously.
I humbly accept your nomination.
But Donald Trump has given a voice to millions of voters who buy into his message that he will make America great again. And many say that Hillary Clinton's message just isn't as clear.
I think people can get inundated by the details, not just from the candidates, but being bombarded by media all the time. So the idea is to have a very clear central theme, like we're stronger together. But people do want to know what are your ideas to move the country forward, but you don't want to deluge them with details.
You don't want to delusion them with policy details. Come on. Just come up with slogans. That's literally what he said. Let's get back.
Hillary Clinton supporters say her experience and her competence are her main selling points. But to others, this could be a liability.
They don't trust politicians. They don't trust the media. People are so turned off to virtually every institution. So we've got our work cut out for us, for sure.
Factor 2, here at the Democratic National Convention, people admire and respect Hillary Clinton. But across America, there are many who despise her and even hate her. Some just struggle to connect with her. Others say they don't trust her and point to things like Benghazi and the email scandal.
If you look at the polls, she is wildly popular when she's not running. When she starts to run, her numbers just go down, and I think it's complicated.
You know her. What is the real Hillary Clinton like?
She's wonky.
What does wonky mean? Because what I find in white culture, they come up with these names because, again, white culture is about sugarcoating reality. They don't want to sugarcoat reality. This is what they do. So wonky could be a word to describe a bad trait, but they don't want to use a trait. So they go wonky. They use these type of words. I don't know in this context what she means, but I think she's referring to Hillary Clinton has a bad trait, but she's saying wonky. What are your thoughts?
I think when they use like wonky, like in that way or whatever, they trying to say that she like, oh, she's good at law, she good at negotiating, she like crafty and she knows all these strategies. So it's kind of like it's an establishment compliment. So they used to say like Elizabeth Warren is wonky because she had these detailed progressive policies, but we know that is not the case, right? Now look at the frame of the question. This is how I'm gonna take this. Who are they asking about Hillary Clinton? Someone who Hillary Clinton deemed as an equal. Ask a worker, someone who was one of them prison wage slaves of the Clintons back when they was in the governor mansions in Arkansas. Why don't you ask a member of the working class? Remember that kid who showed up at Hillary at one of the Hillary campaign events, and she called her out for her horrific policies, and then Hillary like literally yelled at her, scoffed at her. She's like, if you think you can do better, why don't you run yourself? Why don't you run your how? And it like there have been so many videos of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden just being horrible to anyone who questioned them. Why don't you ask them? Like, ask that black girl who Hillary Clinton snapped at. Ask her, like, what do you think of Hillary Clinton? You notice how they ask her?
They know who to ask. Yeah, absolutely. They know exactly who to ask or who not to ask is a better way, I guess, of saying it.
She presents as if she knows the issues, and that makes some people uncomfortable.
Listen to what she says here, actually. Listen to this comment.
If she knows the issues, and
she's basically saying she comes off as a know-it-all sometimes.
What is the real Hillary Clinton like?
She's wonky. She presents as if she knows the issues, and that makes some people uncomfortable. It makes some people uncomfortable, particularly because they're not comfortable with wonky women.
And history doesn't favour Hillary Clinton either. It's extremely rare for a party to win a third term. The last time that happened was with the Republicans when George H.W. Bush won in 1988.
A lot of people don't like either candidate. In fact, what I've said is there's 20% that doesn't like either candidate, and they're going to decide the election.
So for Hillary Clinton, this election might not come down.
Go ahead. I thought you said something.
No, what you said there, just real quick. You see what the liberals do? Hillary Clinton is massively corrupt, a fucking war criminal who opposed every single progressive policy that was popular on the left at the time. But she said, Hillary Clinton, she's really smart. She's very wonky, very policy-oriented. And America don't like her because she's a woman, and people don't like women who are policy-orientated. What reality is this? Like that? Why? Even though I voted for Joe Stein in 2016, I hate Hillary Clinton because she's an intelligent woman who wonky about policy. You see how deeply unserious like the people they interview on cable news is? Interview anyone who's a real activist, anyone on RBN, and anyone you've seen on RBN. Why they do not like Hillary Clinton? Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that she's a wonky, nerd, smart woman? They mislead people, and people who are apolitical, they watch this and they like, man.
Oh, yeah, it is because she's a woman, huh? They have no idea all the terrible things she's done.
Exactly. Because they misdirected. It's not Libya. It's not her insane, unhinged support of the Iraq war. Not the Patriot Act. Not none of that. She's a woman. You see how they misdirected to their liberal audience? But anyway, go ahead, CJ.
Yeah.
I just want to add that point.
No, that was great. So what I have now, we're gonna kind of break into hang on a second here. Oh no, let's do this. Let's get into the substance here. So I'm gonna go to this video. This is probably
I'll be right back.
the video that's gonna cause the most conversation here. So let's we're not watching the whole thing, by the way. It's 36-minute video, but we're not watching all of that. There is a couple of points I want to bring up here and play to the audience. So let's bring it up now. There we go. All right, so here, this is before the election. And I think it's after the leak emails of them cheating Bernie Sanders, I believe. But you know what? Let me just listen to it. And then this is Chris Hedges. And he gives an awesome spot on description of the issues with Hillary Clinton. But let's listen to the interview. It's Chris Hedges and Robert Relch. I think that's how you say his name.
National Convention. We're joined now by two guests. Joining us from Berkeley, California is Robert Reich, who served as Labor Secretary under President Clinton and is a professor at the University of California, Berkeley. And here in Philadelphia is Chris
he's
Hedges,
terrible.
Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. His most recent book is Wages of Rebellion, The Moral Imperative of Revolt. And I'd like to begin with Robert Reich. You were a Bernie Sanders supporter. You're now backing Hillary Clinton. You're not at the convention, but your perspective on what you saw last night and the possibility of the Democratic Party uniting behind Hillary Clinton or a group.
So let me just re-establish what I said. I said maybe it wasn't. So this is after the leaked emails that they cheated Bernie Sanders came out. So this interview is after that information has already hit. And when he says after seeing what happened last night, he's referring to Hillary Clinton or somebody being booed every time they mention her name. That's what he's referring to. So that's the context of the question.
A group of the Sanders supporters going with Jill Stein.
Well, it's very hard to tell what the delegates are going to do, and it's very hard to tell, even harder to tell what the electorate is going to do. This is a very agonizing time for many Bernie Sanders supporters. With a great deal of reluctance initially, because I've known Hillary Clinton for 50 years, endorsed Bernie Sanders and worked my heart out for him, as many people did. And so at this particular juncture, there's a great deal of sadness and a great deal of feeling of regret. But having worked so long and so many years for basically the progressive ideals that Bernie Sanders stands for, I can tell you that the movement is going to continue. In fact, it's going to grow.
Did the movement continue or grow?
I'm getting text messages from the Democratic Party right now, because that's where Bernie was like, I'm gonna take my movement, I'm gonna just give it to the Democrats. He sold you out. Sorry, I don't know any other way to put it.
Yeah, so the answer is no.
Now, at this particular point in time, I just don't see any alternative but to support Hillary. I know Hillary. I know her faults. I know her strengths. I think she will make a great president. I supported Bernie Sanders because I thought he would make a better president for the system we need. But nonetheless, Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee. I support her. And I support her not only because she will be a good president, if not a great president, but also, frankly, because I am tremendously worried about the alternative. And the
selling fear. Here goes the fear selling.
As a practical matter, is somebody who is a megalomaniac and a bigot, somebody who will set back the progressive movement decades, if not more.
Has Joe Biden said, this is a rhetorical question.
I was just about to say that.
Has Joe Biden set back the progressive or leftist movement by how many decades?
I wonder who's the racist megalomaniac who set the progressive movement back. I wonder who that is. So I'm like, yeah, you're right, sir. But guess who else that describes? That's what people forget. And what I was like shocked by. And this position I do not agree with, because I vote for Jill Stein. I vote for the Green Party. I vote for Angela Walker this last election. So if you're gonna make this argument, the only argument that's honest is saying, man, I really hate Donald Trump. I don't want Donald Trump to be president. I'd rather fight Joe Biden. That's it. The end of argument. So when you start doing this shit, where you like, I support Hillary Clinton, I think she would be a good president. When you see someone do this like Robert Reich is, that's a propagandist. So one thing I told you, I disagree with the first part, but at least do you agree or disagree, CJ? At least
no, I agree. At least say it that way.
Where they were like,
right.
well,
because
I know Biden sucks, but I just hate Trump, so I'm gonna vote for Biden. I disagree with that, but at least that's honest. When you say shit like Hillary Clinton will be a good president because she's gonna stand with democracy, like I hear the people say this shit all the time, like, bro, that's a different level.
How you're describing it is essentially Cornell West's position. He didn't give props to Joe Biden. He's like, I'm terrified of fascism from Donald Trump, and that's why I'm going to be voting for. That's basically his position. I disagree with it, but that's a more intellectually consistent position if you're somebody who says they're on the left, I think.
Chris Hedges.
Well, reducing the election to personalities is kind of infantile at this point. The fact is we live in a system that Sheldon Wolin calls inverted totalitarianism. It's a system where corporate power has seized all of the levers of control. There is no way to vote against the interests of Goldman Sachs or ExxonMobil or Raytheon. We've lost our privacy. We've seen under Obama an assault against civil liberties that has outstripped what George W. Bush carried out. We've seen the executive branch misinterpret the 2001 authorization to use military force act as giving itself the right to assassinate American citizens, including children. I speak of Anwar al-Awlaki's 16-year-old son. We have bailed out the banks, pushed through programs of austerity. This has been a bipartisan effort because they've both been captured by corporate power. We have undergone what John Ralston Saul correctly calls a corporate coup d'etat in slow motion, and it's over. I just came back from Poland, which is a kind of case study of how neoliberal poison destroys a society and creates figures like Trump. Poland has gone, I think we can argue, a kind of into a neo-fascism. First, it dislocated the working class, deindustrialized the country. Then, in the name of austerity, it destroyed public institutions, education, public broadcasting, and then it poisoned the political system. And
Nick, you tell me that doesn't sound like he's describing the United States. Literally, if he said the United States and he went with those phrasing, those sentences, it literally is describing where we're headed or where we're currently at right now.
So when you hear Robert Reich's embarrassing elementary level political analysis, and then you hear Chris Hedges just right now, it's clear that there's only one serious person in the room. You saw how Chris bring up the receipts, the working class angle. Meanwhile, Robert Reich, I think Hillary Clinton would be a good president.
Right, a great
there's only one serious person here. There's only one serious person in this debate. But anyway, go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, he murders him in here.
And we are now watching in Poland them create a 30 to 40,000 armed militia. You know, they have an army. The parliament, nothing works. And I think that this political system in the United States has seized up in exactly the same form. So is Trump a repugnant personality? Yes, although I would argue that in terms of megalomania and narcissism, Hillary Clinton is not far behind. But the point is we've got to break away from, which is exactly the narrative they want us to focus on. We've got to break away from political personalities and understand and examine and critique the structures of power. And in fact, the Democratic Party, especially beginning under Bill Clinton, has carried water for corporate entities as assiduously as the Republican Party. This is something that Ralph Nader understood long before the rest of us and stepped out very courageously in 2000. And I think we will look back on that period and find Ralph to be an amazingly prophetic figure. Nobody understands corporate power better than Ralph. And I think now people have caught up with Ralph. And this is, of course, why I support Dr. Stein and the Green Party. We have to remember that 10 years ago, Syriza, which controls the Greek government, was polling at exactly the same spot that the Green Party is polling now, about 4%. We've got to break out of this idea that we can create systematic change within a particular election cycle. We've got to be willing to step out into the political wilderness, perhaps.
That is so key. We have to break out of this belief that we can create structural change in a cycle. It's like Sam Seder in the video. He was like, what's your plan? What's your plan? What's your strategy? You don't have a strategy. Your strategy is only for the next election. What's your strategy for 15 years?
But
that's all you have. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're the only one who has an incoherent strategy. Like we had mutual aid summits, we had General Strike Summit, third party. We are constantly talking about solutions on this show, brainstorming. We're like, oh shit, I remember I talked to Missy, like, oh shit, you don't agree with third parties? Oh, remember our reaction was like, oh my God, you don't agree with third party? How dare you? We were like, go ahead, let's come on our show, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we are intellectually curious. We hear this breakdown by Chris Hedges. This is someone who's serious, who actually talking about issues, who want to educate people about issues, and want to actually bring up serious solutions. Compare that to what you just hear from Sam Seder. Compare that to what Robert Reich, and I'm sure I'm gonna hear more. I don't know if I heard this or maybe it's been a long time, I don't remember, but this is blowing me away. But I want to hear from Robert Reich again, and we're gonna see their arguments, compare it. And when I see it, I'm like, how do people not see this shit night and day? Like, to me, this is just as different as a political faction as liberals and conservatives. Chris Hedges and Robert Reich, two completely different political ideologies. When I see it, but go ahead, CJ.
But he tries to piggyback off of him. You'll see. Watch this.
Perhaps for a decade. But on the issues of climate change, on the issue of the destruction of civil liberties, including our right to privacy. And I speak as a former investigative journalist, which doesn't exist anymore because of wholesale government surveillance. We have no ability, except for hackers. I mean, this whole debate over the WikiLeaks is insane. Did Russia? I've printed classified material that was given to me by the Mossad, but I never exposed that Mossad gave it to me. Is what was published true or untrue? And the fact is, in those long emails, you should read them. They're appalling, including calling Dr. Cornell West trash. It is the whole. It exposes the way the system was rigged within. I'm talking about the Democratic Party, the denial of independence, the superdelegates, the stealing of the caucus in Nevada, the huge amounts of corporate money and super PACs that flowed into the Clinton campaign. The fact is, Clinton has a track record, and it's one that has abandoned children. I mean, she and her husband destroyed welfare as we know it, and 70% of the original recipients were children. This debate over, I don't like Trump, but Trump is not the phenomena. Trump is responding to a phenomena created by neoliberalism, and we may get rid of Trump, but we will get something even more vile, maybe Ted Cruz.
Robert Reich, I remember you on Democracy Now! Talking about your time as labor secretary when President Clinton signed off on welfare reform. And you described walking the streets of Washington, D.C., wondering where the protests were, that you had vigorously objected. And it was also an issue, a bill that Hillary Clinton had supported. So can you respond to Chris Hedges on these 3 points, including, so you take a walk in the political wilderness for a little while?
Well, Amy, it's not just taking a walk in the political wilderness. If Donald Trump becomes president, if that's what you're referring to, I think it is, there are irrevocable negative changes that will happen in the United States, including appointments to the Supreme Court, that will not be just political wilderness, that will actually change and worsen the structure of this country. I couldn't agree with Chris Hedges more about his critique overall of neoliberalism and a lot of the structural problems that we face in our political economy today. I've written about them, but I've done more than write about them. I've actually been in the center of power, and I have been doing everything I possibly can as an individual and also as a mobilizer and organizer of others to try to change what we now have. I think that voting for Donald Trump or equating Hillary Clinton with Donald Trump is insane. Donald Trump is certainly a product of a kind of system and a systematic undermining that has occurred in the United States for years with regard to inequality of income and wealth and political power. But we don't fight that by simply saying, all right, let's just have Donald Trump and hope that the system improves itself and hope that things are so bad that actually people rise up in armed resistance. That's insane. That's crazy. What we have to do is we've got to be very, very strategic as progressives. We've got to look at the long term. We've got to understand that Bernie Sanders brought us much further along than we were before the Sanders campaign. We owe a lot to Bernie Sanders, his courage, his integrity, his power, the fact that most people under 30 voted for Bernie Sanders. In fact, if you look at the people who voted for Bernie Sanders under 30, that was more people than voted for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton together under the age of 30. We are building a progressive movement in this country. But over the next 4 years, I don't want Donald Trump to irretrievably make it difficult, if not impossible, for us to move forward with that progressive movement. Now, I understand Hillary Clinton is not perfect. I've known her, as I said before, for 50 years. I met her when she was 19 years old. I know her strengths, and I know pretty well her weaknesses. She is not perfect. And
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
As Chris says, you know, she is also very much a product of many of the problems structurally in this country right now. We fight those structural problems. Yes, hand in hand, Chris, with you, shoulder to shoulder. I'm very short. Maybe it's my shoulder and it's your rib cage. But it doesn't matter. Continue to fight. I will continue to fight. Many people who are watching and listening will continue to fight. We must continue to mobilize. I hope Bernie Sanders does what he implied he would do last night, and that is carry the movement forward, lend his name, his energy, his email list. This is not the end of anything, but we have got to be, at the same time, very practical about what we're doing and very strategic about what we're doing. This is not just a matter of making statements. It's a matter of actually
there is nothing strategic. Let me say this. There's nothing strategic about selling out the communities that the Democratic Party bombed. Like, how is it strategic to sell out the Palestinian people, knowing that Hillary Clinton is an insane Zionist? How is it strategic to sell out our Latino and our Haitian and our Black Central American brothers and sisters who are brutalized by the ICE detention centers and the immigration system that Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton support? So I'm asking the wealthy white left, like Robert White, to explain this to me. It never comes up in their explanation how this is going to help us in the Black community, supporting a party that supports increasing the police state. They want to deregulate Wall Street. They have. Hillary Clinton has. They let off Wall Street that committed financial fraud. That is what Vice President Joe Biden did. That is what Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party did. Are we clear? You see how it's just nothing but fluff here? We gotta make a calculated decision on what's best on our community. We gotta be strategic. There's no policy. Explain to me in each individual. Go criminal justice. Let's go healthcare. Let's go environment. Hey, by the way, there's a climate crisis, and we're gonna incrementalism our way out of a climate crisis.
Yeah.
So my question to these people is go issue by issue. Explain to me what issue are you being strategic on by voting for Hillary Clinton? But go ahead, CJ.
Changing the structure of power in this country.
Chris, I'd like to ask you, you've written that liberals are tolerated by the capitalist elites because they do not question the virtues of corporate capitalism, only its excesses, and call for tepid and ineffectual reforms. Could that have also been said of FDR in the 1930s? Because you were one of the folks who did not back Bernie Sanders from the beginning. So
I didn't back Bernie Sanders because, and Shama Sawan and I had a discussion with him before, because he said that he would work within the democratic structures and support the nominee. I think we have now watched Bernie Sanders walk away from his political moment. I think he will come to deeply regret what he has done. He has betrayed these people who believed in this political revolution. We heard the same kind of rhetoric, by the way, in 2008 around Obama. A political campaign raises consciousness, but it's not a movement. And what we are seeing now is furious spin. I listened to Ben Jealous just do it, from the self-identified liberal class. And they are tolerated within a capitalist system because in a moment like this, they are used to speak to people, to get them to betray their own interests in the.
Oh my God. I'm stopping it here because I should have trigger warned you. He was about to drop some serious shit right here. Some serious class analysis right here. I'm gonna.
There's only one serious person in this debate. That's Chris Hedges. Always on fire.
Yeah, and it's at the expense of Bernie Sanders. We have to come to terms with Bernie Sanders did good, but Bernie Sanders is not the person we're trying to make him out to be. He is simply not.
Believed in this political revolution. We heard the same kind of rhetoric, by the way, in 2008 around Obama. A political campaign raises consciousness, but it's not a movement. And what we are seeing now is furious spin. I listened to Ben Jealous just do it, from the self-identified liberal class. And they are tolerated within a capitalist system because in a moment like this, they are used to speak to people, to get them to betray their own interests in the name of fear.
So if you didn't understand that, or if you did, let me just re-say it. So in a capitalist system, you might think, why? Well, then why is it? If they really don't like Bernie, why is they're letting them? He's trying to get you to understand because they're useful tools in a capitalist system where capitalists can't convince us, can't convince the proletariat. But these liberals who are tolerated, the social democrats, they're not democratic socialists, and that's another video I'm going to do. Explain the difference.
CJ,
They're not democratic socialists. They're social democrats. Go ahead.
Yeah, CJ, I was about to quickly just say, explaining this concept to the average progressive Justice Democrat supporter is like pulling your teeth out. Like, it's like the worst. I want to bang my head and say, like, how you not understand the difference in ideology between someone who's a member of the DSA versus the Black Panthers, who was done with the shit. The Marxist-Leninist organization versus social democrats. It's a wide difference. And the thing is, Chris Hedges, he's not even a Marxist-Leninist. He's not even that far.
He's not even that.
You see the difference between him and social democrats.
Right.
That's how far the gap is between them and us. Chris Hedges is not even that far as us. But even him, he is a significant upgrade to as far as someone like Bernie Sanders and AOC. I heard him speak on Ukraine. I heard a lot of people speak on Ukraine. They disagree. They called out the U.S. and the West on Ukraine. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders and AOC go along with it. There's not small disagreements. Like there's a wide ocean of disagreements on people who call themselves Democrat socialists and people who are even just basically working class based, like Chris Hedges.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even a Marxist-Leninist. But anyway, go ahead, CJ.
But there is a video when I do cover this. The video I found for when I do cover social democrat versus democratic socialist, the DSA has recently even changed the definition because they've been co-opted. Because a democratic socialist is supposed to be a socialist trying to get to socialism. That's what they're supposed to be. But they've made it to where now you can include capitalists. You're actually a social democrat, where you just believe in a lot of great social programs, but you are a capitalist. That's the difference.
Hey, TJ, when we do the episode, I'm gonna invite Q on. Like, if
absolutely,
you guys,
we'll plan that, man. Yeah,
I had Q on. If you guys heard his dissection on social democrats, you guys got here's the Marxist-Leninist perspective as well. So I love
the DSA.
Let me know when the episode. I'm gonna see why.
Yeah, we'll plan it together. We'll plan it together as a Nick and CJ show. The DSA is on purpose trying to change the definition so that now democratic social now includes people who aren't trying to get rid of capitalism, which is not the original definition of it. And believe it or not, one of the people who breaks this down is David Pakman. It's an old video though. It's not something he may not say now, but this is like years ago he breaks this down. But anyway, and another Marxist channel that I'll play the video. But anyway, let's get back to this video and let's get through it because it's another couple videos I want to show. These are shorter. This is the longest video because it has some of the best content.
And I admire Robert and have read much of his stuff and like his stuff. But if you listen to what he's been saying, the message is the same message of the Trump campaign, and that is fear. And that is all the Democrats have to offer now and all the Republicans have to offer now. And the fact is, from climate change alone, we have no time left. I have 4 children. The future of my children by the day is being destroyed because of the fact that the fossil fuel industry, along with the animal agriculture industry, which is also as important in terms of climate change, are destroying the ecosystem on which we depend for life, and neither party has any intention to do anything about it.
What should Bernie Sanders have done?
Bernie Sanders should have walked out and run as an independent. And defied the Democratic
Take up the invitation of Dr. Jill
Yes.
Stein and run on the ticket.
She offered to let him run on the top of the ticket. That's what he should have done. And the fact is, let's not forget that Bernie has a very...
So let's remember this. For those who just can't release this hug on Bernie Sanders, he was offered to be at the top of the ticket. He was offered. Now imagine, let's go back to 2016. Let's say he's not going to win. Could you imagine in 2020 what the Green Party would be if Bernie Sanders took that invitation and built that party over the next 4 years, where he was still saying Green Party this, Green, and you know how this critique, they can't do this, they can't do that. We can't do it because we don't have revolutionary people to make hard decisions. And now she asked him, Nick, Please be the top of the ticket. Kashama Sawant, please go to the Green Party. Go outside and do this. You have a movement. It's pre-made. You're raising money, which is the two hardest hurdles. Transfer this campaign into a real movement, and he said, "Fuck you, motherfuckers." That's what he said. We have to accept that this is who Bernie Sanders is. He is not a democratic socialist. He is a social democrat. He is a capitalist who does not want to challenge power.
Yeah,
let's go ahead.
One last thing, real quick, and that's why we need to start analyzing strategy, right? Because I will be the first to admit, like, if you look at the policies, social democrats is an improvement over neoliberalism, but that means literally nothing. When you see the strategy of social democrats and democratic socialism is to work within a capitalist imperialist democratic party. So it literally does not matter when you say, "Oh, I believe in Medicare for all. I believe in free ponies. I believe in rainbow." That does not matter if you're working within a system that will never grant you that without violent class struggle, which you guys are unwilling to engage in. But sorry, go ahead, CJ.
No, that's spot on. That's spot on.
Very checkered past. He campaigned for Clinton in 92. He campaigned for Clinton again in 96 after NAFTA, the greatest betrayal of the working class in this country since the Taft-Hartley Act of 1948. After the destruction of welfare, after the omnibus crime bill that exploded the prison population, and we now have, I mean, it's just a monstrosity what we've done. 300 to 50,000 to 400,000 people locked in cages in this country are severely mentally ill. Half of them never committed a violent crime. That's all Bill Clinton, and yet he went out and campaigned. In 2004, he called on Nader not to run, to step down, so we could support a war candidate like John Kerry. And I'm listening to Jealous before talk about the Iraq war. 60% of the Democratic senators voted for the war, including Hillary Clinton.
What he's referring to, and I don't think I'm going to get time because it is one of the other videos. Ben Jealous. So what they did, Democracy Now! Did, they brought on a bunch of people who are all on the left to debate Bernie Sanders, and so they brought in a couple of different pins. Ben Jealous debated Jill Stein. So he's referring to that because he was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and now he's all of a sudden shielded, and he's saying we don't want the same thing to happen where Nader came in, because he was saying no, Bernie Sanders shouldn't go third party. We don't want the same thing happen when Nader came in. You saw what happened, and that got us the Iraq war. And he's like, and Chris Hedges is like, what the fuck are you talking about? You acting like the Democratic Party wasn't a part of this. All of the Democrats voted for it too. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Ben Jealous? And he was kind of like agitated Chris Hedges because Ben Jealous said a bunch of bullshit in that video.
Yeah, and it's just like this video, isn't it? Like it's
the same day. They did the same recording the same day. Go ahead.
That's the difference between the progressives and us, the progressives and Chris Hedges. These Robert Wright like, yeah, man, there was this incredible the working class man struggling. Man, we don't got health care. The police is killing us. They say all the good things. And then me and Chris Hedges, we be like, who you think did it? The things you talking about. And then you're like, this is why we got to vote for the people who just did the thing I complained about. And then people take them seriously. People deny RBN. People don't want RBN to be in public discourse. They don't invite us on their shows because we just point the shit out. Like, the things you're talking about is caused by the people you vote for. This is not a rocket science, high-level political analysis to point that out. So go ahead, PJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I would love to continue with this because it's a great debate, but we just for time's sake, I do want to make sure I cover some of the, because I want to go through the process, because remember the title is how do we get here with Roe v. Wade? That's what the ultimate sort of goal of this video is. Now, so we have to introduce into the context, and that's the leaked email part before we go back to the Chris Hedges. We have to introduce this concept and all the details and the reaction. So David Pakman, of all people, in this short video sort of breaks it down. He breaks it down pretty good about the disgusting thing that happened to Bernie Sanders. So let's listen to David Pakman right here.
Have been talking for nearly a year about the obvious reality that the Democratic National Committee, then led by Debbie Wasserman Schultz, was conspiring to crown Hillary Clinton the Democratic presidential nominee and take down Bernie Sanders. We knew it, right? We knew about the decisions around debates being made to help Hillary Clinton. We knew there was very shady stuff going on with the Clinton campaign offices sharing space with DNC offices. We knew that Debbie Wasserman Schultz had previously been on Hillary Clinton's 2008 committee, but those were circumstantial pieces of data. They were requiring of inference. What about something undeniable? Well, we have it. Over the weekend, there was a huge WikiLeaks email release, which included nearly 20,000 emails and over 5,000, actually over 8,000 attached files, including emails from 7 key DNC staff members. WikiLeaks have not yet revealed their source. We know that this hacker known as Guccifer 2.0 claimed that he was the source of the leaks, but some experts say this is doubtful. What we know is that the emails are devastating to the narrative that the DNC is any kind of unbiased and objective observer within the Democratic primary process. Here is just a little bit of what we learned through these email leaks, and it is truly stunning. We know that the DNC's CFO and CEO considered portraying Bernie Sanders as an atheist to damage his chances in more religious states. Sounds like something Republicans would do. We know that the DNC National Press Secretary and Communications Director discussed propagating the negative narrative that the Sanders campaign, quote, never had their act together. We know that the DNC Communications Director and Western Regional Communications Director discussed spreading a story portraying Sanders supporters negatively. That email chain includes the remark, quote, let's get this around without attribution. And we know that Debbie Wasserman Schultz wrote in May that Bernie Sanders, quote, isn't going to be president, and in April that he, quote, has no understanding of the Democratic Party. The emails include a bunch of off-the-record correspondence with media people by DNC key executives, including reporters at Politico and the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post. This is completely undemocratic. The DNC should be ashamed of itself. And let me be very clear. There is nothing objectively wrong with a party choosing sides or having favorites or helping one candidate. If that's your role, say, hey, what we do as the DNC is look at which Democrats are running, and we decide who we want to be the nominee and who we're going to help or who we think has the best shot of winning. And then people can decide, oh, that's a good role for the DNC or that's a bad role for the DNC, right? But the DNC says they don't take sides. That is the problem. This is shameful and disgusting. And we were right all along, and so were many others.
Nothing shocking about it. Nice to have confirmation. It's not surprising at all. And I would like to think it's basically too late already. But I mean, I was hoping when this news broke that this could somehow change things, that maybe Bernie would still have a shot, that the Bernie or bust people could be redeemed.
Right.
But very unlikely.
This violates the DNC's own rules. This is from the Democratic Charter and Bylaws, which I will show you here. And as you can see, quote, the chairperson shall exercise impartiality and even-handedness as between the presidential candidates and campaigns. The chairperson shall be responsible for ensuring that the national officers and staff of the Democratic National Committee maintain impartiality and even-handedness during the Democratic Party presidential nominating process. That is Article 5, Section 4 of the DNC's own charter and bylaws. Chairperson Debbie Wasserman Schultz reiterated this live on CNN at least once, saying, quote, the DNC remains neutral in the primary based on our rules. This is disgusting. This is betrayal at a level that you would typically associate with a developing country, not the United States. And
so I want to leave it or stop it. Oops, I want to stop it there because he breaks it down and it posed this question for a short discussion here. I don't understand people, Nick, who think that you could do this and people still come out and support Hillary. Like, that is so bizarre that you think because you just say leaked emails, but when you start talking about the things that's in the emails, what they were going to do, this is what the DNC was going to do, not somebody saying, asking the DNC to do this. The DNC is saying, this is what we want to do.
Guys,
Like, how do you think people like, and then you say, just suck it up and go vote for what? Like, that is so bizarre. Go ahead, Nick.
Guys, they literally, the Hillary Clinton campaign went during their primary against Bernie Sanders, controlled media press releases, and it was literally funneling money from campaigns that was running, and they were funneling money for the Hillary Clinton campaign. So if you donate money to like some other politician, there's a good chance that the Democrat Party behind their back was funneling money to the Hillary Clinton campaign. From that, they literally had complete control of the party, and they had agents working like MSNBC and CNN. And Hillary Clinton had like this long access list, and that access list had everyone on MSNBC, like Chris Hayes, Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
I went over this a long time ago, where I went over like this approved journalist list, and there was Hillary Clinton plants. Like, it was a complete takeover of this quote unquote democracy that they pretend we lost. And any reasonable person would say, when we have it, you had people pretend that democracy is the red line. They're like, oh my God, we got to stand for our democracy. The Trump supporters at January 6th are so evil because they fought against democracy. Meanwhile, that was the Democratic Party in 2016. That is the Democratic Party right now. They're illegally kicking Green Party people off the ballot. And man, what a change that is. They're probably like, man, they're breaking their own rules. Guys, who enforced the rules? We have a lawless ruling class. Right. And what is, look at that, an incredible change. Because I know I don't listen to that dude. He went from just report on this, and now he's like a Democratic Party shill, vote blue no matter who, sycophant.
Oh, is that what he is now? I've heard that, but I don't listen to his content. I don't even know people. I don't know people who refer to his content or any.
He's bad on Israel Palestine too. I'm gonna hold myself back. I let the chat comment because I don't know. I don't know a ton. I'm not gonna call him a Zionist. I'm gonna just say he's really bad on Israel Palestine. I see him have really bad takes on foreign policy. He's just a standard fucking liberal. Like, there's no other thing to say. He believed that the best draw through the Democratic Party. But you did that report. That's what drives me crazy about people like him and David Sirota. Like, you do the report like, hey, yo, man, Democratic Party is against democracy, man. They literally rigged the election against the working class movement. Man, we should vote for them over Republicans, though, shouldn't we? Like,
you should look at Mike Figueredo and look at David Dole when he was a Green Party candidate. I told you that long time ago. Yeah. David Dole ran as a Green Party candidate in Canada, and Mike Figueredo brought him on. And that's kind of how they started to know each other, because he saw him as a candidate.
Yeah, remember that video we saw where Mike Figueredo had his beard shaved off because it was so long ago?
Yeah,
he was advocating voting for the Green Party and shit.
Yes, yes.
Like, look at that video. Like, David Pacman did that where he was supposed to DMC being anti-democracy. You had David Doe, who ran the Green Party in Canada, who was more radical. You got all these people who shift significantly to the right.
I purposely, Nick, for this stream, went after the people who have made these changes because I wanted to point out and make the point. So I purposely went after these people, and these are specifically for those specific reasons.
Look at this comment. Just real quick, Pac-Man is from Argentina. Pac-Man is from Argentina. Back to fascist coup. He backed the fascist coup in Bolivia. Wow.
Oh, wow.
He just one of them guys I know had bad foreign policy. I'll see he had bad. That one I want to be careful. I don't want to smear him. I want to make sure I'm correct here. But he's just one of them guys I see all the time getting foreign policy wrong. So I'm glad. Thank you for that. Hopefully that's true as well. Thank you for the chat there. But go ahead, CJ.
Bloomberg Politics managing editor John Heilman is a co-host and executive producer of The Circus on Showtime. Have you seen it? It's fantastic. It's a division of CBS, and John joins us at the table.
Welcome to Philadelphia, guys.
Yeah, so much to discuss.
City of brotherly love. We got some love here at this table this morning.
We do.
Okay.
We always got
the Democratic
love.
Party have a lot of love.
But that's the thing, John. It breaks right before the start of the convention. Do you think it's going to have any impact?
So they're talking about the impact of the DNC email leak. So we're still, because this is the story. The email leak, in my opinion, is a significant reason, if not the reason, she lost. They want to blame it on Bernie bros, Bernie supporters for not coming out. But to me, it's an unreasonable expectation. It's unreasonable expectation for what happened to Bernie Sanders and their supporters of people that, you know, like you campaign door to door, blood, sweat, and tears. And then you're saying, come over here and support these people who have been putting on this charade of fairness this whole time. It's just it's a too high of a threshold to cross, in my opinion. So, Gail, that's the backstory for this video here.
Well, I think it's already had impact. I mean, you know, you think about the Republican convention, which a lot of people said was kind of a mess, but it took them 24 hours before they had their first scandal. You know, here we haven't even started this convention, and we're already enmeshed in conflict and chaos. You know, there's a lot of Bernie Sanders people who are here in Philadelphia still not happy about the fact that Sanders isn't the nominee and about the way in which the process was run. This has stoked those fires to the nth degree.
And when he would speak.
So because I'm not going to play the whole thing, let me just set up why I'm playing this video. So this video is to just address the this is to address this point. Debbie Wasserman Schultz does this is the top person, because it's not just her. We want to use her as a fall person, but it's not just her. But she's the face of, you know, what she's the face of what happened. Hang on a second here. I keep going back to my notes. Oh, she's the face of it, right? So they said, oh, you can resign. That's the solution. Resign from DNC. But she resigns from the DNC and just joins the Hillary Clinton campaign. Why would somebody and considering what she just did, why would somebody want to vote for that campaign? Like, it didn't make any strategic sense to add her on, considering what she just did. It didn't make any sense. So what I'm getting to is there was bad decisions made by this campaign. That being one of them. The decision to sign this contract with the DNC, where they're basically making all the decisions, the Hillary Clinton campaign, and then the decision to bring her onto the campaign after she had to resign. Those two decisions are contributing factors to why she did not win, why the vote was depressed, and also her not visiting certain states. So now that's the background. Go ahead, Nick.
There's a few devastating facts that destroy the liberal narrative, the Sam Seder narrative, that somehow Joe Stein voters are at fault. Devastating fact: Gary Johnson got like 3 times more votes than Joe Stein. So if you want to say third-party voters spoiled it, okay, take out the third-party votes. That means you have to take out the Gary Johnson votes that he apparently stole from Trump. So that devastating fact alone destroys this narrative.
And let me take it further for those who didn't put together what you said. If Gary Johnson got more votes than Jill Stein, and your rationale is that Jill Stein siphoned votes from Democrats, well, Gary Johnson siphoned more votes from Republicans. So that's even more reason why illustrates why Hillary Clinton was a terrible candidate, because the ground was actually even more fertile for her to win by your own logic. So like you say, Nick, we could do it either way. We could go with your logic or we could go with the real thing. Either way, the point is made. But let's finish this video so we can, there's a couple more videos and we can get out of here.
And when he would speak, and, you know, there have been discussion about that. Sanders, whether he would speak in the 9 o'clock hour, the 10 o'clock hour. There was some upset apparently at the campaign about the possibility that he wouldn't be in prime time. Apparently he will be now.
And what do you make about Debbie Wasserman Schultz still being involved in any ways? People say she should be leaving like today.
You know, look, we had John Podesta was on television this morning talking about this. I asked him, I said, you know, what? She said, well, she stepped down, so it's all fine now. I said, but she's now got a role in your campaign. He said, well, you know, she's been very loyal. She likes Hillary Clinton. She can still campaign for us in various places. I don't think it helps the cause of Democratic unity to keep her around, and the fact that she's going to be on stage at this convention. It's going to be, I think, an ugly scene when she opens the convention, because there's going to be, I think, a lot of boos and a lot of catcalls for her. I can't imagine why she wants to do this.
Yes, and that's the point that was made, is that, like, why is she not ran out of town? So what I'm saying is, it's like I guess it's like the civility politics angle. It's like, we're going to treat you however the fuck we want, and you better do exactly what we said. And they do these fake reaching out to the Bernie campaign. Oh, he can speak here and he can do that. But you just put the person who was rigging the whole thing on your campaign. And that's supposed to get us out to vote for you? It just doesn't make sense, Nick. Go ahead.
So, if it's okay, I probably got to dip out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to share something real quick before I leave. It's very similar to what we're talking about, and hopefully don't throw you off too much. Because I wanted to cover this a few days ago, because I think this is relevant. You see all these people making excuses for Hillary, so I just want to get your reaction on this quickly before I go, CJ. Have you guys seen this? The whispers of Hillary Clinton 2024 have started. They want to believe so bad. So my first instinct when I see this kind of stuff is like, oh my God, this is horrific. No. But then there's another part of me that like, man, it would be kind of funny to watch her lose a game because none of the shit really matters anyway.
If you didn't know, people, anytime you hear a story, anytime you hear whispers, this is Hillary Clinton reaching out to her people. Can you float this story? Let's see the reaction. This is Hillary's people, to me, floating these because we keep hearing them whispers, and this could be happening, this and that, anonymous sources. It's like, really? This is not just Hillary Clinton trying to get her way back in and get a second chance at Donald Trump. That's what I think this is.
Yeah, we all know this is planted into the media by our Hillary Clinton friends. Like, this is Chris Eliza, the biggest clown in media, that wrote the CNN article. There was another guy who wrote op-ed like, if we want to win in 2024, we have to elect Hillary Clinton. And then she's like, she got the experience. I read the whole thing just because I'm like, bro, this is so horrific. And then he was like, she had the experience. We need someone who's moderate, who can win over the moderate Republicans. That's a myth. But anyway, so that's funny. That's why I wanted to bring this up in response to what you shared. One last thing I want to share real quick before I get out of here, just because this is breaking news. And this is breaking right today. Is the big terrorist attack. The rooftop shooter kills at least 6 at July 4th parade in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So this happened today. This is the big breaking news. So since we are Revolutionary Blackout, we are Left Channel, and when we have more time, we may break this down much more. But I have to bring up this tape because we got to start Revolutionary Discipline. This is friend of the show. I used to have Savvy on back in my old channel all the time. Great account. And this is the point I want to make because we're not going to cover this long. I just want to at least give our take and at least report on this for you guys. This is what she said. And I love this. An hour ago, there was a mass shooting at a 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois. 9 people shot. The parade was filled with cops. And yet the shooter still hasn't been caught. So you got all these cops. You ever seen any parades?
Oh my God.
Cops, and CJ already seen the liberals are making about what? Already seen guns. We gotta make it about guns. Guys, these stories are always about the failed police state.
Right.
But
they want to deflect. But these are about cops. I was thinking the same, and I heard the same take, but right before we went on, I was hearing this story, and I heard the same thing. I heard it was on CNN where the anchor asked the person on the scene. I heard they were asking a witness. I heard there's a parade. How many cops? And the lady didn't want to say. She asked the person, how many cops were out there in the parade? So cops don't stop crime, even though they're there, and cops don't solve crime. So why do we have cops?
Remember, that's exactly how we covered the last mass shooting. That was the very first tweet I sent was like, you guys support John police state, but why are you not stopping these shooters? Literally a John parade that has surveillance, that the police state has their hand all over. If they're not stopping a mass shooting at a parade, they're not stopping it ever, boo-boo. I'm sorry. It's not happening. So I want to at least touch on that on this last live stream. You can obviously keep going. I just got to head out because I got some.
Yeah.
But thank everyone for listening. We appreciate you guys. Please like, share, subscribe if you guys enjoy. I have a lot of good guests this week. On Wednesday, we're gonna have Tara Reid on. On Thursday, we're gonna have Anthony Zinkis on. And we're gonna have Alex Vitale on here very soon. I'm gonna continue this series where I'm bringing on a lot of powerful leftists that you're not even gonna hear from like boutique independent media, right? You're not gonna see Margaret Kimberly on a TYT interview about Ukraine. That's not gonna happen. So I want to like create a lane where we have a lot of leftist independent voices where we can talk about serious issues. So that's what we have this week. Thank you, CJ, for having me on. Thank you guys for watching.
No worries. All right, Nick. See ya. All right, so let me finish out this. I got a couple of more videos just to round out the whole point of this video, which is how did we get here with Roe v. Wade? We all know that it was Donald Trump that appointed 3 judges, and that's essentially why the Roe v. Wade decision. And then so that begs the question: well, how did we get Trump? And in the initial video, Sam Seder says, basically describes it as what happens. We have the experience when Republicans win and have control, and what happens when one person, the person who was supposed to win the presidency, doesn't. And he goes on to blame Bernie bros, essentially supporters who didn't come out for her, saying that, it's a protest vote. It wasn't a protest vote. It was a dim exit. It was a walk away from the Democratic Party. And I'm just explaining and breaking down how that's not the reason she lost. She made several missteps in her campaign. But to me, the biggest reason is the leaked email and the relationship the Hillary Clinton campaign had with the DNC and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That's it. That's how the vote was depressed. That's how people didn't come out in Michigan and Wisconsin, along with the fact these people who live in these states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, they know who fucked their lives up. They know who took their livelihoods through trade deals. They know it was the Democratic Party, as Chris Hedges always referred to. They know who has betrayed them with trade deals. So let's listen to Elizabeth Warren and what she says about the DNC rigging of the primaries.
We learned today from former Democratic National Committee Chairwoman Donna Brazile that the Clinton campaign, in her view, did rig the presidential nominating process by entering into an agreement to control day-to-day operations at the DNC. The Clinton campaign controlling the party staffing, strategy, finances, communications, and that agreement was entered into in August 2015, a year before she defeated Senator Bernie Sanders. This must shock you.
Look, this is a real problem. But what we've got to do as Democrats now is we've got to hold this party accountable. When Tom Perez was first elected chair of the DNC, the very first conversation I had with him is to say, you have got to put together a Democratic Party in which everybody can have confidence that the party is working for Democrats rather than Democrats are working for the party. And he's being tested now. This is a test for Tom Perez. And either he's going to succeed by bringing Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders representatives into this process, and they're going to say it's fair, it works, we all believe it, or he's going to fail. And I very much hope he succeeds. I hope for Democrats everywhere. I hope for Bernie and for all of Bernie's supporters that he's going to succeed.
Very quickly, Senator, do you agree with the notion that it was rigged?
Yes.
Very simple answer. Do you agree with the notion? What do you mean, the notion? Did we not see the emails? It's not a notion. What do you describe it as then? So this is an old Jimmy Dore video, but he does break down why Hillary Clinton actually lost. And let's listen to a little bit of it, not all of it.
Hey, everybody, guess what? So this happened. And what does that mean? Everybody's wanting to know what that means. Well, what that means is hopefully this is going to happen, that the donkey is dead and it's been killed by the corporate donors. It did. They still, by the way, really quickly, the Democrats, I think, are already learning the wrong lesson from the Donald Trump presidency. Certainly the media is. What happened? What happened was the Democrats, and This is just as simple as I can put it. The Democrats became Republicans. Bill Clinton got in bed with Wall Street, Big Pharma, fossil fuels, and Silicon Valley. And they turned their back on the workers. And this is the effect. Hillary Clinton went after Republicans. She didn't go after unions. She didn't go after progressives. She didn't go after us at all. This is from a story I did on August 10th of this year. And I was talking about the horrible strategies that the Democrats are now. They're full-fledged Republicans. So this is from August 10th. Chuck Schumer was saying this. This is their strategy wasn't to go after progressives. Their strategy wasn't to go after workers or unions or whatever. This was their strategy, was to go after Republicans. Chuck Schumer said, for every blue-collar Democrat we lose in Western Pennsylvania, we will pick up 2 or 3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia. That's their plan. Their plan was to get more Republicans to vote for them. Well, why not just run in the Republican Party? He goes on, the voters who are most out there figuring out what to do are not blue-collar Democrats because they got nowhere to go. Is that what you thought, Chuck? They are the college-educated Republicans or independents who lean Republican in the suburbs. That's who Chuck Schumer likes. That's who he's most comfortable around. That's who the Democrats.
I mean, look at what they're saying. For every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western Pennsylvania, he said, we'll pick up 2 or 3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs. This is Chuck Schumer saying this. So they prop up. This is another reason why she lost. Let's not remember the reason Donald Trump even was leading the pack is because Hillary Clinton, her camp, propped him up. The leaked emails showed. There's 2 sets of leaked emails, but one of the leaked emails showed their tactic, their strategy in propping up Donald Trump. One of them was to reach out to news outlets to tell them to make this, give this idea of Trump being a candidate validity. So he was handpicked to be the front runner by the Hillary campaign and the DNC or Democrats or however you want to describe it. So they selected him. And then they put on one of the most terrible candidates and then depressed the votes with the leaked emails. And then now they're trying to blame it on us. Just ridiculous.
The Democrats are comfortable around now. They're the party of Wall Street and Silicon Valley. And this is the result. I'll give you one more thing. This is from Washington's blog. And it says, here's the stat I really want to get to. 38% of all American workers made less than $20,000 last year. That's almost 4 out of 10 workers made less than $20,000. Almost 4 out of 10 workers in America, richest country, face of the earth has ever seen. 51% of all American workers made less than $30,000 last year. 51%. 62% of all American workers made less than $40,000 last year. And 71% of all American workers made less than $50,000 last year. And so what does that mean? Well, how did Hillary Clinton really lose? So this is the problem. And Hillary Clinton didn't have a message to those people. Her message was Trump's in Russia. He's a Russian. He's in bed with Putin. Trump, Russia. What? Oh, he's deplorable. He's bad. He's sexist. He's what? Yeah, I get it. So this was never addressed. And how did she lose Michigan and Wisconsin? First of all, 7 million less voters this year. Exactly as I predicted, not to pat myself in the back, but I was like, I'm pretty sure this will be the lowest voter turnout in a while. It was. Barack Obama had less voters in 2012 than he had in 2008 because a lot of people got hip to his corporatism. And in 2016, less voters than in 2012. Donald Trump got less votes than Mitt Romney, and he still beat Hillary Clinton. Here's what happened in Wisconsin and Michigan. In Michigan, Wayne County, Detroit, basically, Obama got 596,000 votes. Hillary Clinton got 467,000 votes.
This is a reason why she lost these states, but why is the vote depressed? Because of the fucking terrible candidate. Because the Democratic Party is not delivering on anything. Black people are sort of practical. Just how they didn't buy into Obama until they saw him winning, because they need to see that white people will vote. Not that they didn't want him, they just are very practical sometimes when you're talking about electoral politics. So if they're not getting anything out of them voting, they're probably not going to go out and vote. What are they getting from it? And this is usually, like, especially the younger population, the younger Black community.
That was 129,000 less votes in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton got then Barack Obama. They didn't come out for her. They didn't come out. That was the statewide margin when I put this together at 3 a.m. was 61,000. In Wisconsin, Obama in 2012 had 3. And by the way, in 2012, his votes were suppressed. They weren't as big as they were in 2008. In 2012, Obama got 332,000 votes in Milwaukee. Clinton in this year got almost 100,000 less votes, almost a third less votes in Milwaukee. The statewide margin in Wisconsin was 73,000. There you go. There you go. Right there. The people in the cities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say probably African Americans weren't going to vote for her. So 13,225 votes that Trump beat. That's the margin of victory for him in Michigan.
Against Hilary, yes.
And look at that, 129,000 less votes in Detroit. There you go. There's your victory.
Yeah.
What did they do for the people in Detroit?
What's the final tally? What's his final margin of victory in Wisconsin? 27,000 votes in Wisconsin. Trump won by. She was down 95,000 votes just in Milwaukee alone. The turnout in 2012 for Obama, 65.9 million people. 2016, Clinton got 59.1 million. That's 6.8 million less votes than Barack Obama.
People did not come out for Hillary Clinton because she was a terrible candidate. So you can pretend like Sam Seder can pretend like revisionist history that somehow Roe v. Wade decision being overturned lays in the lap of Bernie Sanders supporters. That's just absurd. She was a flawed candidate before the leaks. And then the leaks just tipped the scales. And then the bad decisions, like with the bad decision about Michigan and Pennsylvania, where the Bernie Sanders campaign was warning her, hey, you need to be going to these cities more. You need to be going to Detroit. This is the reason why she lost. You have a terrible candidate. You got leaked emails that shows corruption. Why would people come out and vote for that?
That's a lot of less votes. Romney got 60.9 million votes, and Trump got less votes than him and still won. He got almost 2 million less votes. So the vote was suppressed. People did not get off the couch to go vote for Hillary Clinton. And that's what happens. You know, Howard Dean in 2003, you want to know why half the country doesn't vote? Because you have to give them something to vote for.
Right.
Here's a little bit more. White men, 35% for Obama, 31% for Clinton. So it wasn't. So actually more white guys voted for a black guy
I was just about to say that.
than voted for a white woman. Clinton got just 37% of the white vote. Obama got 39% of the white vote. And here's
like Chris Hedges always says, and I'm going to end it here as far as this video. The white community in middle America, they know exactly who sold them down the river. They know it was the Democratic Party and the trade deals. and Bill Clinton. They're not going to forget that when it's time to vote. This is who they call the racist Trump supporters now. Are there certainly some racist people who support Trump? There's been racist people in the Republican Party all the time. So I'm saying it's not special. But you're losing white working class people, and the Clintons are the ones who decided to turn their backs on white working class, that decided to bring in make the Democratic Party more corporate and less union. They were the ones who kind of started or perfected the strategy that they still use today. So you have to do a more deeper analysis about what happened in 2016 than Sam Seder may have done with his comments about this sort of being the issue or the results of the Bernie supporters deciding not to do. I mean, it's so much more involved. So let me end that video there. And the last video we're going to do before we get off, I didn't realize when I'm doing these things and I'm finding these content, there's so much good content. I want to include everything, but I got to start cutting this down, maybe limiting the videos. But we can't go anywhere without hearing Cornell West describe why Hillary Clinton is a terrible candidate. So we can't. This is the last video we'll use in understanding what happened and how we got to the Roe v. Wade decision. The selection of Hillary Clinton as a candidate was probably step one of the Roe versus Wade being overturned.
You are endorsing Dr. Jill Stein. You were a surrogate for Bernie Sanders. You spoke all over the country for him.
Yes.
What made you decide to support the Green Party presidential candidate as opposed to Hillary Clinton?
Well, I've never been tied to one party or one candidate or even one institution. And that's true even one church as a Christian. I'm committed to truth and justice. And Brother Bernie, no doubt, was the standard bearer for truth and justice during the primary at a national level, at a highly visible level. Once he endorsed Hillary Clinton, who for me is a neoliberal disaster, it was clear.
What do you mean by that?
A neoliberal disaster is one who generates a mass incarceration regime, who deregulates banks and markets, who promotes chaos of regime change in Libya, supports military coups in Honduras, undermines some of the magnificent efforts in Haiti of working people and so forth. That's the record of Hillary Clinton. So there was no way when my dear brother, who I love very deeply, Bernie Sanders, said she'll make an outstanding president. I said, oh, I disagree with my brother. I don't think she'll make an outstanding president at all. She's a militarist. She's a hawk. Take us into war with Russia. She could take us into war with Iran. I mean, I think she's dangerous in terms of her neoliberal ideology. Not as a woman, because I'm supporting, of course, my dear sister Jill Stein. I think after a magnificent campaign of Bernie Sanders, the next step is a green step. The next step is a progressive step. And when you're calling for reparations, you're calling for the release of prisoners who have been historically unfairly treated, especially tied to nonviolent crime. And then saying they should vote, and that vote should never be taken away. When you're calling putting people and planet and peace before profits. Sister Jill Stein, for me, is somebody that's worth fighting for. And she's not a spoiler. You know, a lot of people use that term, spoiler. If Hillary Clinton can't make the case to progressives, she doesn't deserve our vote.
Right.
Trump is a neo-fascist in the making. There's no doubt about that.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about that. But the thing is that you can't just be a non-Trump and deserve one's vote.
Right.
If Hillary Clinton wants to vote a progressive, she better be real about it. But I don't think she has the capacity to be real about it. She's so tied to Wall Street. She's so tied to the corporate elite.
Why do you say he's a neo-fascist, Donald Trump?
Because neo-fascism in the United States takes the form of big money, big banks, big corporations tied to xenophobic scapegoating of the vulnerable like Mexicans and Muslims and women and black folk, and militaristic policies abroad with strongman, charismatic, autocratic personality. And that's what Donald Trump is. And we should know, and this is where I salute you, my dear sister. Corporate media has played a fundamental role in the making of Donald Trump.
Right.
$2 billion free time.
I forgot about that, and I'm going to end there with Dr. Cornell West and get out of here. So that's another reason, Sam Seder. The media, and now they were requested by the Hillary Clinton campaign, but they carried it out. They propped up Donald Trump. So you have to start with the genesis. You can't start with people, the result of people not showing up to vote for her. Why did they not show up to her? And who put Donald Trump up? Who propped him up? Who promoted him? Very key in understanding what's happening. So we're going to end with this video here. It's an old video, Populist Voice. Thank you for joining me today for this stream. I know it's a longer stream, but we had to cover how did we get here with the Roe versus Wade. And then we added the story of, perhaps this will be a lot less, but we had to add the story of Jayland Walker. And that's the reason why we went a little long today. Let me do a quick like check on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to our Substack so you get notifications of streams like this. Very important. We are at 488 likes. Can we push that to 500 before we get out of here? What was I just about to show you here? Oh, 1 second, everybody. Yeah, I could take this down, and I'm gonna throw up your comments as we play this last video. But here's the mailing list that you can join. This is the mailing list that you can join. All you do is go to revolutionaryblackout.substack.com, and for the landing page, you just enter your email, and that's it. Email and name, and that's it. And you will be on our mailing list. We'll send you notifications when we do streams. I know I do mine all the time, and I try to encourage some of the other members to do it. Hopefully they're doing it also. But yeah. All right. So also, we want to get to 20,000. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for doing that. I'll toss up your comments as we're listening to this video. So thank you for everybody who's here, and thank you for all of your support. Also, Patreon, I forgot about that. I think it's scrolling at the bottom. Patreon, if you're able to contribute or support us financially, many different plans on there, so you can check that out. Also, so I'm leaving you here with this video. I will not be returning after the video plays. The stream will end. So thank you for joining me today, and I'm CJ. This is the Nick and CJ Show. Study any revolutionary movement. You have to have message discipline. You have to have focus on your goals and never take your eyes off those goals. Your adversary is going to come at you with every single distraction in the book. And this is why you have to have message discipline, or you have to have revolutionary discipline. Mainstream media will plant bogus stories in order to create dissension in a movement, in a revolution, in a general strike. It's a tried and true tactic by the ruling class, by the oligarchy. And we can't let that happen as a movement, as leftists. We can't let distractions detour us on our path of achieving the more than issues. Don't let the lesser than issues distract us or detour us from the greater than issues. The police state will try to pin different movement people against the other. They'll say, hey, that person ratted you out. That's what they're going to do. We have to have revolutionary discipline. We have to have tunnel vision on our goal and not let any distractions derail us. The analogy I like to use is this. It's like driving to your destination. Along the way, there might be potholes, there might be accidents, and there might be detours, etc. We have to push through those obstacles, not letting them derail us to our final destination. And we cannot fall for the detour. Right now, the left is falling for the detour. Somebody says something about AOC, all of a sudden everybody's fighting. Somebody says something about Bernie Sanders, all of a sudden everybody's fighting. These are indications that we're not ready for a revolution. We're not ready for a general strike, because you need revolutionary discipline.